Okay. Should be live. We should be live about now. And I'll just wait for a few people to join, then I'll get started. Okay, so we have Iceman. Good to see you here, Iceman. God bless. Every time. In a bit of a mood today, and a little bit of pent up energy in me, so I thought, you know what, it's been a long day. Just got in not too long ago, and yeah, jump on a live. Why not? Got nothing better to do right now, you know? God bless you, man. Shout out to CPB1. Good to see you here, man. God bless. Every time. So I tried scheduling this one for later. You guys might remember when I did my last live, I decided to schedule it for 5 minutes later. And yeah, basically that helped out a little bit. A few people were, or a few more people seemed to be notified of the video when I did it like that. So I figured I'd schedule it a little bit earlier this time, and see what happens. I'm still kind of testing the waters with this sort of thing, you know. Lunchtime over there, or is it, man? Yeah, over here it's 5:48 as I record this now. So yeah, I've been not long got in the door, you know, from work. So yeah, man, very different over here. Yeah, been a long ass day, man. It's one of them. Central Time, USA. Oh, is that where you are, Iceman? USA. Yeah, several hours behind, isn't he? Same for me. Just had a short nap. Yeah, I'm bloody tired, man. It's been one of them days. You can probably hear it in my voice, man. It's been a really long day, but for some reason I can't really rest. I don't know why. I'm just full of it's one of them days, man. I've just got all this pent up energy, and I'm just like, whatever. I might as well do a live stream since I got nothing better to do, you know. Shout out to I can't think of a good name, so this must suffice. That's a pretty good name to me. Soap Nordic, beautiful picture. Yeah, it is, man. It is a beautiful picture. like a sleep paralysis demon, isn't it? Shout out to Lee Talks Boxing. Good to see you here, man. Every time. God bless you. Yeah. It's a great picture, isn't it? Shout out to Reb Slav. Good to see you, bro. Looking forward to Canelo Golovkin 3. I am looking forward to it, funnily enough. I'm really looking forward to it. I think to me it's a lose-lose situation for Canelo, isn't it? So I can't wait to see it. It's one of them fights, in it, where you just know if Canelo wins, he's supposed to win, isn't he? He's fighting an old man, a guy who he's supposedly already beaten twice, according to him, and who's now 40 years old and past his prime. So if Canelo wins, he wins. But if he loses, that's kind of embarrassing, isn't it? So yeah, I'm looking forward to the fight, needless to say. Part of me wonders if Triple G's actually going to put a bit of a beating on him. I don't think he'll win, but he might put another beating on him like he did the first two fights and just take a lot out of him. You never know, man. It's that kind of fight. It's got that kind of intrigue to me. I actually watched your Lightyear video this morning. Yeah, man. Yeah, had to say it, man. It had to be done. You know that The reaction to that movie from the general consensus that I've been seeing on the internet really got me thinking. So, yeah, I had a lot of thoughts in my head in regards to that one that I wanted to, just I wanted to get it out there. A lot of things that had been going on in my head about what's going on in the world, and more specifically what has been going on in the whole entertainment media. I just had a few things that I wanted to get off my chest with that one. So, yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. I've been doing a workout, just relaxing at the moment. Good to see you live. Yeah, man, that's good. Good to keep active. It's good to see you here, man. First two Golovkin fights took a lot out of Canelo. Yeah, they definitely did. I mean, even though he was able to escape both of them, it's basically a situation where the punches that he took and the hard, grueling effort that he had to put up just to stay in there for 12 rounds each time definitely wasn't good for him. It definitely took some out of him, I'll tell you that. It did his knees in, took some pretty heavy shots to the head, and the same thing's probably going to happen in the third fight. I don't think it'll be much different. Is this one of the first trilogies to not happen at the same way? I don't know, actually. I need to look that up. I think Marquez versus Pacquiao was one of them, because weren't their first two fights at featherweight or super featherweight or something? So I think their first two fights were at featherweight, if I remember rightly. And when they had the third fight, that was at welterweight years later. So it's been done before. They don't always happen at the same weight, but I don't think it's very often that they don't happen at the same weight. It makes me angry how no one talks about Canelo's blatant duck of Paul Smith. Yeah, Canelo needs the whole Smith clan, man. He needs to get Paul out of retirement. Then he needs to move down a weight and fight Steven. He needs to have all four brothers. That's what he needs. Hope Triple G ends him for good this time. I dream of an undeniable KO. Yeah, that'd be funny, man. Like, see if all that's been said, or after all that's been said, you see Triple G knock out Canelo when Triple G is 40 years old. Could you imagine how embarrassing that'd be for a lot of people in the YTBC? Can you imagine how funny it would be for people like us who just don't give a crap? Like, it would really make me laugh. Like, if this is even a competitive fight, and especially if Triple G ends up winning, then it'll be funny, man. Like I'm just gonna enjoy the moment, enjoy the situation. I could care less anymore. It is what it is. It's one of them. It's one of them situations. Have you seen Canelo make any real improvements since the Triple G fights, Nordic? No. The only real improvement I've seen from Canelo is he's maybe gotten his drug routine down a little bit better. He's taken better PEDs, and not only that, he's gotten better at paying off judges and paying his opponents to take dives. Those are a few of the improvements that he's made. But in terms of his actual ability, I don't know, man. I haven't seen any improvements at all. If anything, he's gone backwards. I wonder if AJ Usyk will be a trilogy if Fury stays retired, in quotations. Could be. Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I've made my feelings on the Usyk fight pretty clearly. I think that, but personally, I just think it's some sort of setup. I don't really think it's going to be the same Usyk. So, to me, there's definitely something going on there, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make it a trilogy. But if truth be told, I think if AJ does get the win, I don't think he'll want to fight Usyk for a third time. So, I don't think it's very likely that that'd be a trilogy, but it wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility. I could definitely see it happening, don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's very likely. Thoughts on Dalton Smith? I haven't seen much of him, to be honest with you, mate, so I don't really know. I'll definitely need to take a much closer look at him before I give any sort of informed opinion. Canelo isn't as good at 168, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is Golovkin's easiest of the three. It wouldn't surprise me either. Look, nothing involving a trilogy between those two will surprise me. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a dive. I wouldn't be surprised if Triple G or Canelo took a dive, to be honest. And they try to set up a fourth fight when Triple G is like 45 years old, man. Wouldn't surprise me at all. At the end of the day, like you say, Canelo's not that good at 168, but he's gotten a lot better at fixing fights, So yeah, to me, it's just it's an interesting situation. I don't know whether it's going to be a real fight. I don't know whether Triple G is going to come to box or he's going to come to take Canelo's head off and try to take him out early. You never know. It's that kind of fight. It's interesting to me, and because even though it's a relatively inconsequential fight, it's one that you can just kind of enjoy the moment, if you know what I mean. Just enjoy the banter. Because it doesn't matter to me what the outcome is. Fantasy matchup: Canelo versus Matthew Barney, the GOAT. Your prediction? Well, Matthew Barney has the greatest chin of all time because Carl Froch couldn't stop him. But Canelo has the greatest head movement of all time. So that's a draw as far as I'm concerned. Neither guy would be able to do any damage to the other. So yeah, it's a draw. Respect to your channel. Thanks, man. Respect to you too. God bless you. I appreciate it. Just doing my thing, Here's what it is. Should be competitive by rights. If anything, Golovkin's punch-out foot might have slowed down a bit. Better to match Canelo's. Yeah, well, I mean, that is what it is, man. Golovkin's 40 years old now. He's had a very long and hard career, so it's pretty standard for fighters at that age to slow down, Here's what it is, man. Like he's not going to be as energetic as he was in the first two, but you never know. Maybe that'll work in his favour. Maybe he'll pick his punches a bit better. Who knows? I just think it's going to be interesting, whatever happens, and I could care less about the outcome. But it would be funny if Triple G won. I'd have a good laugh about it. It would be amusing. It would be very funny for me, at least, man. AJ ain't got no animal instincts, no real fight in him. I see what you mean. I was watching the first Ruiz fight recently, and it seems as if as soon as he took one clean punch in that fight, his confidence was completely shot. And it was the same in the Usyk fight. Like, as soon as you really plant one on AJ's chin and really put him under pressure, he seems to fall apart. To me, he just doesn't seem like a very stoic individual, and a lot of the stay humble stuff and a lot of the warrior mentality stuff that he tries to portray sometimes, acting like a gangster from the streets and just all these different sort of personas that Anthony Joshua seems to put on a lot of the time. A lot of them just seem fake to me. I don't think that the guy's very stoic. I don't think he's very confident. I don't think he ever will be. He's a very mentally fragile individual, in my opinion. Fury versus Wilder 4. Why not? I'd watch it. You'd watch it. We'd all watch it. Carl Froch versus Canelo in Nottingham with Howell Foster as the ref. How that would go is Canelo would outbox him for like 4 rounds. Then in the 5th round, Froch would throw like a flurry of slaps that all miss, or most of them miss. And Howard Foster would wave it off to save Canelo's life, Fighter safety and all. You got to be careful with these guys, man. You don't play boxing. Golovkin and Canelo should have completed their trilogy already. But of course the tainted beef played a factor. Yeah, of course it did. And also Triple G needed to age out a little bit before Canelo risked getting in there with him again, It's crazy how all of these characters in shows and movies are gay all of a sudden. Yeah, it's bloody disgusting as far as I'm concerned. I'm at that stage where see if I watch a film and see if the second I see a character's gay, I'm just like done, and I just walk out. Simple. That's kind of the stance I'm taking now. Here's what it is, man. I've actually been thinking about this myself. What's that again? Where was I? Yeah, Fury versus Wilder 4. Yeah, why not? I'd watch it. God bless Nordic Warrior and the tribe of white folks. Yeah, absolutely, man. God bless, and shout out to my Aryan brothers. You're late for the clan meeting, man. Triple G didn't look good in the first 4 rounds of his last fight. Thought he looked alright, but yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say he looked good. He had some problems, But Murata's no easy opponent. That's a tough guy who can punch. Former Olympic gold medalist, I believe. And, a tough guy. A guy who's a world champion, who's younger than him, who's fairly experienced. It wasn't an easy opponent. But there was some warning signs. He was hurt to the body. and he got backed up here and there. And I don't think a Triple G of 4 or 5 years ago would have been in that position against a guy like Murata, you know. AJ is going to be buck broken once more, at least, either by Fury or Usyk. Yeah, whoever it is, one of those guys will beat him, no doubt. AJ, to me, like I said, he's just not that. He just doesn't really have it, does he? He's not that mentally stable. You know, he's not stoic in the ring. He can't really handle difficult situations mentally. You put pressure on him and he falls apart. And before his fights, he's got all this psychology. I'd imagine AJ's the type of person who has a sports psychologist, and the way that his trainers have to really speak to him in a certain way to get him to perform, and he just can't seem to do it without the right inspiration. To me, AJ just doesn't come across as a fighting man. You know, like John Fury says, he's not a fighting man. However it is he says it, you know, it just. Oh man, I don't know. I don't think AJ could handle a real sticky situation. You know, when fights are not going his way, he falls apart. It is what it is. But then again, he's not the only one, isn't he? There's a lot of fighters like that in the sport. AJ needs to get the uncastrated wild boar like the Furies did. Yeah, absolutely. Never been able to buy uncastrated wild boar in the shops, only castrated, which is not as good. Like Iron Brew and Diet Iron Brew. Oh man, you know, you're bringing up Iron Brew. That's part of the reason I'm in a bad mood, believe it or not, is I'm trying to give up Iron Brew. I've not had any today, and I'm getting the shakes, and yeah, it's hard, man. It's not easy. It's really not. I'm like a junkie. You know, I'm like one of them junkies you see hanging outside the health centre waiting for their Valium, you know. That's what I feel like right now, man. Oh, it's not good, man. It's not good. I'd love to see Wilder against Joshua and Ruiz. I actually think they could both beat Wilder now, because Wilder is just... I mean, look, I know AJ has his mental fragilities, but Wilder's just lame, man. He's just weak. He's got no skills. Yeah, Wilder's rubbish. And I think AJ would knock Wilder out. I think Ruiz would probably walk him down. The whole industry is a disgraceful anti-white machine. Yeah, they're anti-white, they're anti-Christian, they're anti-moral. You know, they're just a bunch of degenerates, mate. A lot of them. Is what it is, man. Yeah, that wouldn't be bad fights. Yeah, of course they wouldn't. I'd watch them. I especially like to see Wilder and Joshua, just based on all the stuff that's been said over the years, man. 100% Celt here. Yep, absolutely, man. God bless. Do you rate Riakporhe? I've not seen much of him, to be honest with you, so can't really comment on it. I know that someone on here, on I think my last live stream, was talking about him, and he was saying that he's he's a bit of a hype job. You know, he just hasn't really proven anything, but he's getting a lot of hype. But me personally, I haven't seen much of him, so I can't really comment on it, man. Canelo doesn't have the footwork to back Golovkin against the ropes. Had 24 rounds, but couldn't do it once. Murata did it with 30 seconds. Yeah, that's true. But then again, Triple G Murata was a real fight, and Canelo's fights are not real, you know. Here's what it is, man. You know, Canelo needs to pay these guys to go on the back foot and fence and spar with him, you know, instead of actually trying to throw punches at his head. And it's a pretty big head, but it moves pretty fast, doesn't it, man? You know, he's got the super head movement and counter punching that they're all scared of. I think the perfect trainer for Joshua would have been Manny Stewart. Well, yeah, look what Manny Stewart did for Lennox Lewis. And look what he did for Vladimir Klitschko. You know, he took those guys who had certain fragilities and he made them into two of the best heavyweight champions of all time. You know, he really knew how to bring out the best in certain fighters, particularly heavyweights. And he just knew how to develop heavyweights. He knew how to take that physical frame of a big heavyweight and mold them into a much better fighter and a much more complete fighter who gets the best out of their attributes and improves their skills and just learn how to punch with confidence and with authority. And I think that that's something that could have helped a guy like AJ, but obviously that's not going to happen, is it? What is Iron Brew? You don't want to know, man. You don't want to know. I think Ruiz's punch resistance is gone. Even Chris Arreola dropped him. Yeah, I think that massive weight loss, like losing so much weight in a short space of time going into that fight, probably had an effect on his chin because obviously he's not used to being that weight. But I think maybe if he gets used to being at a lower weight for a little bit longer, his punch resistance might improve. And, Chris Arreola's not like a feather-fisted guy or anything. He can punch, but you definitely shouldn't be getting dropped by a 40-year-old Chris Arreola if you're a world-class heavyweight contender. So I understand the concern. And look, I never rated Ruiz that highly, to be honest, but he's definitely a guy who's got a good chin and he's got fast hands and he's got some ability, but we'll see how he looks in his next fight. I'll reserve judgment until I see his next fight, and we'll see if he can improve his stamina a bit, if his durability is what it used to be, and yeah, we'll see how he handles the lower weight. We'll see. Ruiz can't beat Wilder. I disagree with that. I actually think he could beat Wilder. I think that he has the sort of durability and the educated pressure that would give a guy like Wilder problems. I mean, don't get me wrong, Wilder could knock him out. Wilder could maybe walk him into a right hand, but I think that, to be perfectly honest, Ruiz could get inside, he could rough Wilder up to the body, and I think it'd be a tough fight for him, man. I think he could beat Wilder, personally. I think he could do it. I think Ruiz could overwhelm Wilder. I agree. Definitely, I think he can overwhelm Wilder. I think he's perfectly capable of doing it. Like I said, it wouldn't be easy. He could walk into a right hand, he could get knocked out, but I think at this stage of their careers, specifically at this stage, when you consider what happened to Wilder in his last two fights, where he took an absolute pasting against Tyson Fury, I think that a guy like Ruiz could be the guy to finally get in there and really put it on Wilder and make him quit. Like, I could see that happening. I really could. What's up, Vector04? Good to see you here, man. God bless. Vlad versus Lennox. It's an interesting fight. To me, it would really depend on what stage of their careers they were at. Both guys at their absolute prime, I favour Vlad. Wouldn't surprise me if Lennox knocked him out, but I think that Vlad is equally as capable of scoring a knockout in that fight. Vlad had the better jab. He had the better right hand. He had the better footwork. I think he was maybe the bigger puncher from distance. And I think he was slightly bigger too. He was a little bit more refined, a little bit more technically good, and a little bit more athletic. And I think I would go with Vlad by a late knockout in a competitive fight. That's, of course, prime for prime. Random fact of the day. Anyone fighting Canelo gets a basic plus a 40 cent losing... a basic plus 40 plus losing bonus. Plus a 10% lying down and scrabbling like a turtle bonus. True story, yeah. Yeah, Canelo's opponents are thinking about that payday they get for losing. They're certainly not thinking about winning. Rocky Fielding went down on his knees after taking that slap to the body, and I've never seen a guy look so happy to get dropped. I've never seen a guy look so happy to lose his world title. He was thinking about that payday, man. Yeah, fixed fights as far as I'm concerned, man. Is what it is. Thoughts on the British USA media against Russia's operation leading to rising costs in UK and USA? Almost sounds to me as if it was planned, doesn't it? It almost sounds as if this was some sort of planned media campaign that was going to keep us all poor, keep us all in poverty, send us all back to square one. It seems a little bit too convenient to me, Who would you pick if Santa Cruz and Wood fought? Santa Cruz and Lee Wood. If they fought right now, I'd go with Lee Wood by knockout. A prime Santa Cruz would probably outbox him, probably win by a wide decision, I think. But it would be a competitive fight. Ruiz looked like shite under Reynoso. Well, everybody looks like shite under Reynoso. Look at Oscar Valdez, look at Canelo, look at all these guys, man. They all fail under Reynoso. He's not a great trainer. Reynoso's just a front man, basically. He's just a a guy who is basically living off the success he had with Canelo, which was, of course, fraudulent, because Canelo's fights, in my opinion, are mostly fixed fights. So it is what it is. I don't think he's a great trainer. Just a bag bum, really, man. It is what it is. That's a really good fight. Santa Cruz is a better fighter. But at his age, I wouldn't be surprised if Lee broke him down and stopped him. Yeah, I think Lee would stop him now. I really do. But a prime Santa Cruz, I think, would school him and win a wide decision. Kind of like he did to Carl Frampton. I think he just outboxed him on the outside. He was actually quite a good boxer. I know he was primarily a brawler and a fighter, but he actually was a good boxer when he needed to be. I doubt strongly that Ruiz beats Wilder. Based on their last performances, Ruiz gets dropped under 6. There's simply 2 bucks that need to be broken anyway. Whatever. White lives matter. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Good afternoon. Good to see you here, boy. God bless you. In a real fight, Canelo wouldn't last 2 rounds against Fielding. Probably. I mean, Fielding would probably just be too big and too powerful for him. So it seems to me that was just a dive. You know, I believed at the time it was just a dive, and that Rocky Fielding was selling his belt. That's all I ever saw that fight as. It didn't seem like anything else to me. That's what I've always thought about it. I mean, it's embarrassing. A guy 6'4", full-fledged super middleweight, going down in 3 rounds against a guy like Canelo, who wasn't even a puncher at 154. It's absolutely bloody embarrassing. Ridiculous that fight was, man. Thoughts on the mass train strikes going on at the minute? Well, that's going to piss off a lot of people, because a lot of people need to get the train to work. So either they're going to have to get the bus, which is going to cost them even more, I reckon, or they're going to have to get their own transport, which again, fuel's going up as well. So yeah, the prices of everything are going up recently, man. It sucks. It really does. It's going to affect us all eventually, man. Man tried to turn Ruiz into a boxer. Yeah, Ruiz, who's primarily a pressure fighter, they tried to make him into some master boxer. That was never going to work. He doesn't have the IQ or the body mechanics to be a master boxer. He's a guy who needs to make the most of what he does have, and that's a good chin, quick hands, good center of balance. He's a guy who can cut off the ring with a good jab and break you down, and a little bit of head movement, not enough, but a little bit. And he's not a bad fighter, but he's not a bad fighter in his own style, as a pressure fighter. He's not a guy who is going to turn into Alexander Usyk or Cassius Clay overnight. He can't fight the way Usyk fights, behind a jab and boxing on the move. He's a guy who's got to make the best of his own attributes, The ruble has gone up in value. Putin proves to be the most intelligent leader. Johnson and Biden are amateurs. Yeah, to be honest, mate, they're probably working together. I mean, they're all involved with the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab, aren't they? They're all connected. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I think they're all in the same club, just trying to screw us all over and keep us all poor, keep us all in servitude, keep us all at each other's throats. It is what it is. Carl Frampton is the greatest of all time. Irish anchor, yeah, he was the biggest Frampton fan, man. Fury, Wilder, Usyk, AJ Ruiz. What about all the other heavyweights? Where are they? Yeah, where's Hrgovic? Where's Yoka? Where's Bakoli? Where's Helenius? Where's Pulev? Where's Usyk? Oh, sorry, you already said Usyk. Where's who's the other guy I'm thinking of? Joyce. Where are all these guys? You think these guys would be getting title shots, but no, Trevor Bryan and Trevor Bryan and what's the guy who beat his name? How am I forgetting his name? Daniel Dubois. Trevor Bryan and Daniel Dubois become world champion before all those guys. It's crazy to think about, isn't it, man? Thought Irish NK made good videos, or was it just me? I never watched his videos. I think I've seen one video of his, but I only really knew him from comments, And the only reason he was brought up before is because I thought that other dude who comments on my channel, that guy Smooth Critical, I thought they were the same person. at the time. I'm still not convinced they're not, you know. Guten Tag, sir. It's a joke at the moment, the cost of living. Yeah, the cost of living right now is atrocious for everybody, you know. Whatever level of the whatever class you're involved in, you know, it's getting worse for everybody. You know, fuel's going up, public transport's going up. They tell us they want us to not drive and use public transport, but they're putting the price of public transport up along with fuel. So, you know, which is it? Do they want us to use it or don't they? I don't know, man. I think they just want us all poor. They don't want us all having our own capital and our own land or our own ability to go on holiday and have disposable income. You know, they want us all in servitude to the government. You know, they want us all under control. You know, they want communism. That's what they want, man. They want us all to be enslaved to the government. How highly do you rate Shakur? He's all right. He's a good boxer, but again, yeah, another fighter that I'm just not too sure about because I don't know how real his fights are. You know, I'm just I got mixed feelings on him. You know. Oh, and I definitely agree with your video. Kambosos is one of the worst champs I've seen. Yeah, Kambosos was awful. Guy didn't even know how to throw a punch. His skills were completely overblown after the Tiafimo fight, where he basically just beat a fraud, in my opinion. You know, just Tiafimo was a complete joke. I never rated him. Putin is the worst capitalist. Zionist versus Zionist. Select your character gaze. Yeah, that's what it is. 30 years ago, China abandoned economic communism but kept social communism. Is the West using China as its model now? Crony capitalism for the rich, social control for the rest of us. Probably. Seems like it to me because, I mean, like a lot of the people who are up on the food chain, so to speak, you know, a lot of the people who are doing very well for themselves, they're very wealthy, but they push this communist agenda. They're very, very quick to talk about redistributing your wealth, but you don't see them redistributing their wealth, do they? You know, that's just for us normal people, you know, as common folk. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Yeah, Wallen's another one. By the way, how long are you staying on for? Not sure whether to grab a pint on the way home or not. I'm not sure. I was thinking of just being on here for about an hour. I might make it a little bit longer. I don't know. I wasn't gonna stay on for too long, you know. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I feel like doing something else or if something else comes up, I'll jump off. But my approximate time that I'd be on here is about an hour. Like, just it depends really. And I don't really plan that far ahead. Weird how Frampton was probably the UK's best fighter in 2016. He isn't even top 3 now. UK boxing has improved. Yeah, in 2016 there was a lot of belt holders back then, but there wasn't really great champions, you know. And Frampton probably was one of the better ones, but to be honest, he was a good fighter. I thought he was good. He had some talent, but I think his ability was a little bit overblown. And he got kind of found out at world level, you know. Here's what it is, man. It happens to the best of them. Putin is a strong leader. He doesn't listen to LGBT BS and don't care about this cancel culture from leftists. Is he, though? I mean, look, to be honest with you, man, it's like I was saying earlier. I think they're all part of the same club. All these politicians, all these influencers, all these people in positions of power. And like I was saying before, I mean, Putin was involved with the World Economic Forum that have been making all our lives harder lately and are, as far as I'm concerned, responsible for a lot of this inflation that we're seeing and, you know, responsible for the price of fuel going up and all this other shite that is clearly, I mean, was it you that said it yourself or was it somebody else on here? You mentioned how the ruble's getting stronger whereas the pound is getting weaker. It seems to me like that's by design, if you know what I mean. Like the powers that be want us all poorer and they want us all struggling to pay the bills and having to rely on public transport and stuff like that. It's all part of the same agenda, man. But it is what it is. You know, it's out of my hands. There's nothing I can do about it. But You know, I wouldn't be so quick to trust a guy like Vladimir Putin. I mean, I wouldn't be so quick to trust any politician or anybody in a position of power. I mean, he's one of the elite, isn't he? He's rich, whereas the rest of us are way, way down in class compared to someone like him, you know? Poor people are easier to control and scare, as well as to lie to. Exactly. It's like I was talking about earlier. All the prices are going up. The prices of everything's going up. The prices of fuel, the prices of gas, you know, the prices of heating. You know, here in the UK, they've been talking about that a lot on the radio lately, about how people are having to decide whether or not to eat or to feed or to heat their homes. You know, they can't even afford central heating. And the government's telling us not to drive. Like, say if you're a driver, they're saying not to drive to work and to get public transport instead. But the price of public transport's going up. Like every couple of months or so, it costs more to get the train or get the bus. And like somebody on here was saying earlier, all the railway staff are going on strike because they're not getting paid enough. So people can't get to work. You know, a lot of people commute to work. And it's as if to me, it seems as if the government are doing this on purpose because, like you say, they want us all poor and they want us living in poverty so that they can keep us relying on them. You know, that's just how it seems to me. You know, it seems as if this economic crisis that we're going through at the moment is manufactured. You know, that's what it looks like to me, and they're using like conflicts with other countries like Russia, and they're using war as an excuse to kind of distract themselves from it, if you know what I mean. They're not dealing with our issues because we're too busy getting involved in foreign disputes, you know. It just seems too convenient for me. Campos has still got a rematch. Yeah, he's got a rematch clause in the contract, but I don't think anyone wants to see the rematch. To me, it's a foregone conclusion. It's an easy fight. I mean, we all saw the first fight wasn't even remotely competitive. You know, you could argue that maybe Campos just won one round or something, but like I was saying earlier in the stream, you know, Campos was way overblown due to that win against Teofimo, which was a win that took people by surprise. But Teofimo wasn't shit, man. Like, he wasn't shit. He was just a guy who was gifted a win against Loma. That's all it was, man. It's people blew it way out of proportion, and yeah, nobody's interested in the rematch. But I guess if they've got to get it out the way, then they've got to get it out the way because it's in the contract. So why not? You know, go back over to Australia. You know, embarrass Australian boxing again, just like they did with the first fight. You know. With how quickly Bob hopped on making that fight after signing Haney, I just knew, yeah. As soon as Teofimo got that belt, or sorry, as soon as Kambosos got those belts, it seemed like there was a concerted effort, wasn't there, to as quickly as possible get Devin Haney in a position to fight him. You know, the writers just as bad. Yeah, of course they are, man. They're all the same. It is what it is. Politics. It's not my thing. Shout out to Fight Film. Good to see you here, man. Sup all Nordic. Yeah, good to see you, man. God bless. Kambosos was embarrassing, talking so much trash, only to lose pretty much every round. I knew he was going to lose too. Mind games. He was playing his mind games. Devin Haney can't deal with me because of my mind games. He's going to deal with some thunder from down under. I don't know. Was that what he said? I didn't listen. I'm just assuming it was something ridiculous like that. Mind games. There's a shark in the water. Right, where was I? The left is cringy as hell. No freedom, and the right is total scum. I hope they both die. That's a bit harsh. I don't know. That took me by surprise there. That's a bit harsh there, man. UK had 13 belt holders then. Warren, Eddie were making great moves. Yeah, they certainly did. UK boxing was buzzing back then. Again, they might not have been the best fighters. They might not have been the most credible champions, but you know they weren't bad, were they? You know, it was good. It was bringing a lot of attention, at least to British boxing. You know, it was promoting it a lot. Now we have the GOAT himself, Paul Butler. Yeah, Paul Butler is one of the top UK world champions right now, isn't he? That'd be funny if he was to fight Naya Inoue. I'm kind of looking forward to that for some reason. If it happens, I want it to be in Liverpool. Could you imagine that, man? Inoue going to Liverpool to fight Paul Butler. That'd be funny, man. That'll be interesting. Putin ain't strong at all. Yeah, of course he ain't, man. It's a politician. Where is Putin's wife? Strong anti-degeneracy degeneracy leader that he is. Yeah, Putin, isn't he divorced? I think it was you. I heard that from Fight Film. I think you said that Putin's apparently divorced and he runs around with like sluts half his age and stuff. Like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, a lot of politicians are like that. You know, look at Boris Johnson. You know, our prime minister at the minute. The guy's supposedly this traditional conservative, yet the guy's got flipping I don't know how many kids to different women, and he's a womanizer and all that, and he's just again he's got this really false persona, if you know what I mean. Like calls himself a conservative when really he's about as anti-conservative as you can get. You know. Why does UK and everyone have Pride Month? LGBT propaganda is banned in Russia. Well, look, I don't know, man. I don't live in Russia. I don't know a whole lot about Russian culture. I've never even been there, so I don't know what it's like over there in terms of like in terms of what's allowed, like propaganda, the media. Like all I know about Russia is what I've heard from the news and from the internet. If you live there, then you'll be able to tell me a lot more about it. But all I can do is worry about my own country and our own issues and our own leaders, because again, whatever's going on in Russia, that's completely out of my hands, you know. But at the end of the day, look, what we do know about Putin is he's a politician, right? He's a very powerful man. He's very rich, and he's extremely controversial. Like I'm not willing to hang my hat on a person like him. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that I wouldn't be so quick to trust somebody like him. That's all I'm saying. Don't fall for Putin-based fellas. It's all psyops and controlled narrative. Yeah, look, the vibe I get from someone like Putin is he's controlled opposition. It's the exact same thing that I felt about Boris Johnson. It's the exact same feeling I get with Donald Trump, with any supposed hardcore conservative politician. To me, I'm always skeptical about them, because if they really held by those beliefs, then they wouldn't be in that position, would they? You know, the government and the media and the powers that be would do everything they can to keep them out, kind of like they did to Nick Griffin, for example, or any real British conservative politician who actually had conservative values and stood by them. You know, they get called a racist and whatever, and they get basically blacklisted and kicked out. You know, but if you're willing to toe the line and you're willing to promote whatever agenda the media wants you to promote while maintaining this image of being this hardcore based conservative, that's something that tends to get pushed to the forefront, isn't it? And there's a lot of propaganda that kind of psychologically manipulates people on both sides. That's just how I see it. Look, I'm not pretending to be an expert or anything like that. I don't know. For all I know, Putin could be he could be a good guy. He could be on our side. Whatever. I doubt it, though. And I'm not willing to put my faith in any man, because all human beings are fallible. Right? Praise be to Jesus. Public transport is far too unreliable for people to stop driving. I think most drivers will just bite the bullet and pay extra fees for more convenience. Exactly. And that's what I was saying before. The government are always telling us here in the UK, don't drive, use public transport. But then they put the prices of fuel up. And in addition to that, public transport prices keep rising all the time. It's extortionate to get the train now, and it's extortionate to get the bus. And it's, like you said, it's extremely unreliable. Buses are always late. Trains are always late. They're always breaking down. You know, they got these new electric buses that break down all the time. It's ridiculous, man. It's a lower standard of living that I think that the government have inflicted upon us and they want to get us used to it, if you know what I mean, so that becomes the norm. That's what I've suspected for a while in regards to that. Do you think it's because of Brexit? I don't think it has anything to do with Brexit. No, I think Brexit was just a smokescreen. Just a false flag. It is what it is. Plenty of idiots who believe inflation is a cycle or whatever are not complaining or controlled. Yeah, they're just sort of domesticated by it. It's as if they're conditioned to get used to it. Tommy Fury banned from US because of Kinahan. This fight with Paul is becoming Tony Ferguson versus Khabib. Yeah, I heard about that. I'm not really interested. Tommy Fury's a complete joke anyway. I beat Tommy Fury, and I think he probably would have lost to Jake Paul anyway, so that would have been a bit of an embarrassment. So yeah, who cares? I'm not interested in that fight anyway. But it's interesting that he's been banned for the MTK links because it seems as if the entire Fury family is under some sort of investigation because, let's be honest, I mean, it's not as if that family don't have skeletons in their closet, all right? Peter Fury is a known drug dealer, okay? He's done time for it. And according to him, he's known Daniel Kinahan since Daniel Kinahan was 18. Now, what was Peter Fury doing, socializing with Daniel Kinahan during Daniel Kinahan's teenage years? What's that all about? He says they've known each other for 25 years and it had nothing to do with boxing, right? This is Peter Fury's own words. Now, it's well known that Daniel Kinahan's dad was a heroin trafficker, right? He's a convicted heroin dealer. So what do you think Peter Fury, who at that point in time was a known drug dealer, what do you think he was doing associated with Daniel Kinahan? I mean, come on, a young Daniel Kinahan too, before he was who we know him as today. I mean, it's not rocket science, man. It doesn't take a genius to work it out. So, yeah, that family I'm not surprised they're under investigation, and I'm not surprised that their connections are showing to be a little bit deeper than first thought, Yeah, deception, baby. Gary Cully would school Kambosos. Of course he would. I think any like credible top 20 lightweight who actually came to win and who had good boxing fundamentals, could box for 12 rounds, would probably beat Kambosos. I'm not even kidding, man. Dude, the guy went life and death with flipping Lee Selby. And by the way, I rewatched that Lee Selby Ricky Burns fight recently. That wasn't even close. Ricky dominated that fight. He won that fight easily. Seriously, put him in the ring with Kambosos. You'd be surprised by that fight, I'm telling you. Like, the guy's really that rubbish, man. Kambosos is one of the worst champions of all time, in my opinion. Most countries don't, in response to Moscow. Let me have a look. What was that? Oh yeah. Most countries ban the LGBT propaganda. Well, yeah. All you got to do is like look at the Middle Eastern countries. It's banned there too. I'm not surprised it's banned in Russia, but for how much longer is it going to be banned there? The greatest of, I mean, it used to be banned here. The greatest of all time announced his retirement yesterday. The great Mikey Garcia. Yeah, Mikey Garcia was a good fighter, but a little bit overrated in my opinion. And a guy who definitely didn't fight the fights we wanted to see. He didn't fight Gamboa. He shamelessly ducked Linares, shamelessly ducked Lomachenko. Good fighter, but not a guy who had much ambition. I guess he can become a cop now. I don't know what he wants to do. It's not like he needs the money. He got plenty of money for his last fight, didn't he? The A-side Butler. He has to come to he said he has to come to the UK. I want to see that fight in the UK, man. Please make that fight in Liverpool. For some reason, I want to see that fight in Liverpool. I want Inoue to go over to Liverpool and fight Paul Butler. I don't know why. It's just the sadist in me. Just something sadistic about me wants to see that fight in Liverpool. I don't know why, man. I don't know why, but I do. It is what it is. Nigel Benn, WBC middleweight. Round 1, KO'd Michael Nunn. Yet Roberto Duran 4 months earlier nearly lost to Nunn. Well, Roberto Duran is a natural lightweight, let's be honest, and he's considerably smaller than a guy like Nigel Benn. If Butler wins, that's unironically the biggest upset in boxing history. I'm not even kidding. It probably is. Like if I mean if Butler wins that fight, I will literally be shocked. I'm not even kidding. I don't even give him maybe less than a 1% chance of winning that fight. I'm not even joking. Like if he wins that fight, that's hilarious, man. It is, and it would really show that it would really show that Inoue isn't the fighter we think he is right now. If he lost to Paul Butler, man, it would. I mean, I got nothing against Paul Butler, but Inoue is on a different level to Paul Butler. Iran Barkley, I mean, not none. Oh, okay. I don't get the pro-Ukrainian narrative. Fuck the Ukraine. I don't give a shit about Ukraine or Russia. Again, it has nothing to do with me. Okay, I'm not saying that I don't feel bad for people when, when they're caught up in a war zone. That's horrible. I would hate to be in that situation. But at the end of the day, I don't understand it. It's a conflict I don't understand. I don't live there. I don't know. I don't have any ties there. I don't understand the conflict to be taking sides. So I'm not going to support Russia. I'm not going to support Ukraine. I'm just going to pray that it all works out and whatever's going on there stops. Because again, innocent people dying is not good at the end of the day. And it's like I've been saying for a while. When I see like brothers killing each other for no reason, over nothing, it's not a good thing. These people should be united, right? We're all the same person, aren't we? we shouldn't be fighting over stupid politicians causing wars over nothing. Over shit, over zealotry that the people don't understand. They're killing each other for the ego of flipping people in power, man. I don't even know how to articulate it. All the money is in Japan. Jamie McDonald got enough to retire. Butler's making a mistake passing up a few extra 6 digits. Yeah, but come on, man. Let's have it in Liverpool, please. I just want it to be in Liverpool. I really do. Yeah, Mikey Garcia, that absolute legend. I quite like Nick Griffin. Yeah, I like Nick Griffin too. Big Nick Griffin. Yeah, he's a good man. But I'll tell you one thing. That's a guy that would never, ever be allowed like anywhere near any sort of mainstream platform. You wouldn't see him getting mainstream media coverage nowadays, would you, with the stuff that he says? But you'll see Putin all over the news, Zelensky just banned Russian books and music. Guy's also a media for... Yeah, that guy's a homo, man. He is. To be fair, though, that shill call it destroyed the BNP with scandals. Griffin isn't anything special. Oh, yeah, the BNP were basically sabotaged from within. Tommy Robinson, he was another one who was sort of a spy that actually got kicked out of the BNP because he was apparently a Israeli agent. Or that was what Nick Griffin claimed was when Tommy Robinson got kicked out of the BNP. I'm pretty sure he was there to basically sabotage them, and he was constantly trying to steer them in the direction of Islam rather than focusing on other issues, if you know what I mean. Adam Smith, Butler is so courageous, stepping into the lion's den to battle the monster. But can our Paul get the decision in hostile territory? That is the land of the rising sun. Butler gets KO'd. Yeah, like in the first 30 seconds. Oh, that'd be funny, man. That would be funny. If Putin was such a good trad man, he would not be advised by a Satanist who sang about eating babies. Yeah. I seen your video about that, and that definitely was disturbing. I didn't know about that. So, yeah. I mean, look, Vladimir Putin, he's dodgy, isn't he? Like, he's dodgy, just like all these politicians, man. They all got messed up histories. They all got weird, unusual family situations. And they all have, like... none of them seem normal, do they? When you see, like, these elitists, these politicians, they're never just normal people. They're always sort of born into that realm and groomed from a very young age to become leaders, that it seems to me like they're just born in a different class from the rest of us, Shame on you. Tommy Fury fights like Golovkin. Yeah, shades of Golovkin. Maybe Kinahan got Tommy on Love Island. Oh, Love Island, man. That's TV for absolute spastics. Like, whoever watches that needs to get they need to sort out their priorities, man. Tommy Fury didn't get into the USA today. Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. He got banned because of the Kinahan links. On Nordic, it's official. And it's official, the one and only Sandor Martin retired Mikey Garcia. Yeah, Sandor Martin's underrated. I think I predicted that fight. I think I was on, was it Mark's live stream, or was it Del? It was one of their live streams. I was saying that I thought Sandor Martin could win that fight, and I was saying don't be surprised if he did, because I've rated Sandor Martin for a long time. Like, he's a very, very slick fighter. You know, good defense, good counter puncher. He's a guy who has. He's one of these sort of awkward fighters who drops his hands, and usually I don't like that in a fighter. But Sandor Martin's one of these guys who's cat quick, and he's so sharp with his reflexes, and he's just so difficult to hit, man. Like, I remember when he fought Anthony Yigit. I remember I did a prediction for that fight, and I was talking about how even though I thought Yigit was going to win, it was going to be his hardest fight. Like Sandor Martin's going to push him all the way and give him problems. And that was what happened. That was a really, really close competitive fight. Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley 3. I heard a lot of people think that Tyron Woodley took a dive in one of them fights. But I didn't watch it, but that's what I heard. Yeah, Cully would beat Kambosos. Most likely. Yeah, then Selby's next fight, he got absolutely smoked by an Argentinian. Yeah, Argentinian prospect destroyed him, but he went life and death with George Kambosos. You guys have got no idea. See the amount of comments I saw of people suggesting that Kambosos was the best lightweight. I mean, are you flipping kidding me? The best lightweight? Man, it's ridiculous. Who wins, Bivol versus Beterbiev? I favour Beterbiev at this point in time. I think he's the physically stronger guy. He has the he's more persistent to me, and I think on the inside he's more dangerous. But I wouldn't write Bivol off. Bivol has the better foot speed, quicker hands, and he's got good boxing skills from distance. I wouldn't write Bivol off. He could win on points, but I think the most likely outcome of that fight is it's a late stoppage for Beterbiev, similarly to the Vosdik fight. I think those fights would be very similar at this point in time, but that might change. We'll see. I mean, Beterbiev is getting on a bit, so we'll see. I have nothing against the LGBT thing, as long as kept to itself, not on every television advert. I disagree. I have everything against it. I don't want it anywhere near me. Call me an extremist. I don't want that shit in existence. That's what it is, man. Who in their right mind named Liverpool? I don't know, man. It's a dodgy name, innit? But then again, you could say that about a lot of cities in the UK. They all sound dodgy, man. They all sound weird. But yeah, Liverpool does sound a bit weird, doesn't it? I don't see why Jake Paul doesn't just fight Mayweather in an exhibition. That'll do way bigger than the Tommy Fury fight. You would think, wouldn't you? But maybe Mayweather's had enough of that. You know, maybe the beating he took off Logan Paul was enough for him, you know. He's scared of it. I thought Sultan would beat Butler. Did you? I didn't see much of Sultan, so I didn't know. But I was picking Casimero to beat Butler. I think Jonro Casimero would have knocked Paul Butler out, and that's why they hustled that belt off him, man. It's a shame what happened there. It really is. LGBT thing has gone way too far, like BLM thing too. Pigeon. I don't want to see this every second on television. Yeah, don't watch television, man. I ain't watched television in a while. I got no time for it, man. I really haven't. Butler should fight Lee McGregor or someone else domestically. McGregor probably beats him, though. I don't know about that. McGregor's a good fighter, but I think his last fight, in fact, his last two fights, he looked really poor. You know, he got dropped off of that southpaw guy that he fought, and he, of course, had a draw against a journeyman. So I don't know. I think Lee McGregor's more talented than Butler. But I think Butler's experience and his durability, because we know he's quite tough and quite fit, I think he might actually beat Lee McGregor at this stage. But we'll see. Lee McGregor's still young. He can still improve. People putting the Ukraine flag on their Twitter page don't know where Ukraine was on the map before February. Well, these are the same people that were booing the Ukraine national anthem, for the AJ fight, and calling them dirty vodka drinking Russians. But now that's the new thing. They got to support it. Here's what it is, man. Fair weather fans. That's what they remind me of. Support the latest thing. I suggest you pick a side. Beating around the bush and sitting on the centrist fence won't save you when the Red Terror returns. Yeah, look, again, sitting on the fence, nobody wins, do they, when you sit on the fence? But it is what it is, man. People got their own opinions, and some people just don't want to get involved, It's not how I do things. Because they believe Western media. Everything Russia do is wrong and propaganda, apparently. Well, no, everything that our media does is propaganda too. But again, it's not like they haven't collaborated at all. Russia. Look, again, I don't know much about Russia. I've never been there, but it's not as if the regime over there is completely innocent. It's not as if they don't have ties to the West. I'm pretty sure they do. Zelensky and Putin are the same, most likely. Now Motkula is leading Patriotic Alternative. Very trustworthy, yeah. Yeah, they really are patriotic, aren't they? Don't underestimate Butler. I'm going to underestimate him if he fights Inoue. You can be sure I'm going to underestimate him in that situation, man. I really am. Inoue in Liverpool bows to a guy as a sign of respect. Come on, what are you saying now? What are you saying, like? Yeah, Tommy Robinson, Stephen Lennon. Robinson, yeah, Stephen Yaxley Lennon, that's his real name. What was planted into EDL to steer its goals from the truth. Yeah, of course he was. And it's like Nick Griffin was saying, the Zionists basically infiltrated the BNP, and Tommy Robinson was one of them in the early days. And I think that's why he got kicked out. Zelensky used to be a comedian and an actor. He's a perfect USA pop. Do you know you'll find that with a lot of politicians, mate? Look at Trump, actor. Look at Boris Johnson, actor. A lot of these politicians. Look at Ronald Reagan as well. A lot of them are actors, man. Like a lot of them actually come from drama backgrounds, and a lot of them are often educated at the same place. And wasn't Putin a secret agent? That's kind of like being an actor. G has a real chance to upset Canelo. I agree. Fight film, he does. I think what Triple G needs to do is, because what we saw in the second fight was he had Canelo on the end of the jab all night. I think he needs to just commit to the jab. That's what I've been thinking, because that was something that Bivol had a lot of success with, was just jabbing Canelo's head off. Like, if Triple G can land the jab with any regularity at all against this version of Canelo that we've been seeing, who's gotten used to having easy fixed fights, Triple G should just box his head off all night, like the second fight. And if he gets robbed again, it is what it is. Most boxing fans will see the truth that he's the real winner. It would be fun to see you expose that degenerate loser, the quartering, and expose what a fake he is. He literally says he has no problem taking his kids to see a movie with girl and girl action. Yeah, that guy's. I think I mentioned this in my last video. I don't know why I used him as an example. He was just one that came to my mind for some reason. That guy is blatant controlled opposition. Like that guy's a degenerate. Like, first of all, apparently he was raised by two guys. I think two black men or something raised him. Like he was basically brought up in like an LGBT household. I think that's true. And there was a lot of things about him on the internet years ago where he was basically being put in certain positions and just basically grifting on the internet. And he was friends with that other degenerate Angry Joe. You remember him? And they had sort of a fake falling out over the internet. And the guy basically just makes videos talking about whatever's popular, whatever's the latest hot topic, in order to get views. But again, he's one of these guys who talks about all the woke brigade and get woke, go broke, and instant regret. One of those like clickbait grifter channels. But a lot of what he does is he gives shine to things that nobody's watching. Like, you remember a few years ago, there was that show Batwoman that came out. It was some, like, LGBT propaganda show. Nobody watched it. Nobody gave a shit about it. It had, like, zero promotion. But people like The Quartering, I think, were they were deliberately like bashing the show in order to get people talking about it, if you know what I mean. Like it seemed to me that was a big part of it's a big part of his formula. Like he gets a lot of the conservatives or the sort of normie conservatives to subscribe to his channel, and they make up basically they make up basically the bulk of his channel, of his viewing audience, and all they do is just gatekeep. It's ridiculous, man. But yeah, he's a degenerate. He really is. I'm surprised Love Island hasn't got LGBT couples on it. The audience seems to be people who'd be all for it. Yeah, you'd think, but do you know what's weird about that show too? Look up. I don't know if I should say this. Like, look up all the suicides that have been involved with that show. It's really dodgy. Like, I don't really know what to make of it, but just look that up. Look up how many people associated with that show have committed suicide. It's really, really weird. Something really dodgy about it. Floyd versus McGregor 2 in the works. Yeah, could you imagine that, man? I mean, to be honest, I doubt there'd be. I doubt there'd really be much demand for that. Hello there, my friend. Good to see you here, man. God bless. Hello to you too. Good to see you here. 1 second. Where was I? Getting behind on this chat, man. Yeah. I'm surprised it hasn't been axed too. I mean, there's nothing good about it whatsoever, man. Has nothing to offer. Birds have weird names anyways. A group of crows is called a murder. Yeah, a murder of crows. I remember. Do you know when I first heard that term, a murder of crows? It was on a Lord of the Rings video game, and I remember there was like a move you could do where you send out like a swarm of crows to attack somebody, and it was called Murder of Crows. That's the first time I heard that term. Liverpool means land of the liver bird. Really? I did not know that. Yeah, Sultan looked pretty good in his fight before versus a guy I rated in Carlos Caraballo. Yeah, I didn't see that fight. Might check it out. The McGregor knockdown didn't look like a knockdown to me. Didn't he get pushed off balance? I can't remember. Like from what I saw, it's like he squared up and he got caught with a 1-2 and went down. I think he struggles against southpaws, McGregor. That's one of his problems. Tyron Woodley did not take a dive. Jake knocked him out cold. It's just stupid UFC and MMA fans saying it was fixed because they can't accept UFC fighters are trash at boxing. Yeah, most of them are, to be fair. I mean, I didn't watch it, so like I said, I've no idea, man. AJ is a broken book. That's what I've been hearing a lot lately. A lot of people seem to think that. When inflation worsens, even more than you can expect, the next wave of immigration from Poland and Eastern European countries to the UK, yeah. There's a lot. I've noticed that a lot. There's a lot of Eastern Europeans coming to the UK now. A lot of Polish, a lot of Romanians as well. A lot of them are coming over. It's getting that's getting a lot more prominent now. I've noticed. And you're right. Again, inflation is obviously gotten really bad in those countries, and a lot of the people living there feel as if they're about to be in a war zone, I guess, What will you do? Will you do a live after the AJ Usyk presser tomorrow? I'm still waiting for David Hayes' prediction. I don't know. It depends if I feel like it, man. I don't really plan that far ahead. We'll see what I'm doing tomorrow, Triple G will get washed 5th. So you're picking Canelo in the 5th. We'll see, man. We'll see. I doubt it, but we'll see. What are your thoughts on Jesse Rodriguez's performance at 115? Jesse Rodriguez is looking good, but let's be honest, Rungvisai has definitely seen better days. So, we'll see how he looks in his next fight. I'll reserve judgment until then. Quartering sounds like a freak. He is. Yeah, the guy's a weirdo. Real dodgy individual, man. I'd love to see Garcia versus Tank Davis. Both are power punchers who often leave themselves wide open. No way that fight goes to the judges. Yeah, that sounds to me like a fight where somebody gets stopped. I'd probably pick Tank Davis, to be honest. Garcia seems very, very chinny to me. I don't think he can take it, man. casino bar I work in is massive LGBT. It could be entertainment, not pushed as agenda. Nah, it's always agenda, man. That's why it exists. These LGBT agenda pushers never leave their bedroom. It's a spiritual war. Jesus Christ forgives our sins and begins change through the power of the Holy Spirit. Absolutely. I agree. I second that. Do you think Triple G is two-faced? Well, that's what Canelo said, isn't it? And if Canelo said it, then it must be true. Nah, I don't even know what he means by he's two-faced. I mean, does he act differently sometimes, or act differently now to what he used to look? You know, people change over time, don't they, man? I don't think he's two-faced. Damn it, no, that you're always streaming while I'm busy at work. Sorry about that, man. Again, it's because I tend to do these when I've got spare time. You know, I work 8 till 4, and sometimes takes me a while to get in, and usually by late afternoon I'm really tired. So yeah, sorry about that, man. I'll be with you guys in a minute. I'm just gonna go on mute because I need to go get my charger. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, sorry about that. Just had to get my charger, then I had to go take a piss. So, yeah. Alright, where was I? Let me find where I was in this chat. Triple G wins, rematch then cool, but don't see it. You mean have a fourth fight if he wins this? I wouldn't say no to it. I genuinely wouldn't. AJ could very well get stopped this time because he knows he has to go for it. Fought very conservative last time and was still saved by the bell in the 12th. Yeah, but the thing is, like, with the fight being in Saudi Arabia and with there being a lot of money having been invested in AJ, wouldn't surprise me if the fight was similar to last time with Usyk winning, but AJ getting the decision this time. That wouldn't surprise me. Not saying it will happen, but all I'm saying is it wouldn't surprise me because, again, you know, over in Saudi Arabia, you have to imagine they've spent a lot of money on that site fee. You know, they've spent a lot of money, or DAZN at least, they've spent a lot of money into investing in AJ and getting him on a long-term multiple fight contract. So it seems to me like there's definitely a vested interest in AJ winning the fight. Our boy Sonny wants to fight Bam Bam Rodriguez. Yeah, he'd probably get knocked out, man. Luke Campbell took a blatant dive against Garcia. Yeah, I agree. Shame, because I used to be a big fan of Luke. Same, I rated Luke Campbell very highly, but, you know, he, as far as I'm concerned, he just took one for the team there. You know, he had Garcia on the verge of being stopped, and it's like he just stopped throwing punches and let Garcia get into it. And went down, from the body shot, and it's like he just read the script and did what he was supposed to do. Sonny is probably pissed. Jesse might be fighting Ray Martinez next. I want to see the living legend Chocolatito get that fight. Yeah, I think Chocolatito wins that even now, man. Like, Chocolatito is... he's on another level skill-wise to anybody in them lower weight divisions, in my opinion. Kazuto Ioka is another one who's really, really talented and skilled, but even him I don't think can match the skills of Chocolatito, man. Chocolatito just his boxing fundamentals are nearly flawless, and even in his 30s, he seems to be getting better. He seems to be very well preserved, and I thought a few years ago that he might be on the slide, but it seems as if he's actually getting better, man. It's crazy. Have you heard of a YouTuber named Good Hope? His entire channel is about salvation. He's also been taking up boxing lately. I haven't heard of that channel, but I'm definitely going to check that one out. I'm definitely going to see what you're talking about there. How many in the chat think the Usyk AJ fight will be rigged or fixed? Press 1 for yes, 7 for no. 1. I agree, by the way, most likely. I think we see a fair Triple G versus Canelo this time. No Golden Boy influence. I think it will be very close. Triple G could win this. He can win it. Triple G can always win against Canelo because, again, look, the difference in boxing skill, power, and just overall ability is wide. Triple G's the better fighter. Triple G won both the first fights. But the only concern is, well, there's a couple of concerns. One, is it a real fight? And two, is Triple G just a little bit too old now? We'll see. I mean, I don't think he is too old, but we'll see, won't we? Yeah, a lot of people seem to think 1. A lot of people think it will be 1. AJ will punch Usyk's balls a ridiculous amount, I predict. Wouldn't surprise me. He'd probably get away with it with the protection he's going to be getting from the referee and the judges, Do you think Canelo actually takes a Bivol rematch after the Triple G? If not, who do you think he will face? I don't know. The Bivol rematch, well, Bivol said he wants to fight him at 168, so maybe Canelo could use that as an excuse to drain him, So maybe he will. Maybe he will fight Bivol after Triple G. Who knows? But he'll want an assurance this time that he's going to win, I wouldn't mind watching Bivol smash Canelo again. Yeah, of course, if it's a real fight, Bivol dominates him just like he did the first fight. But, if they can slap a dehydration clause on him, bring him down to 168 and compromise him in some way, maybe make him wear pillow gloves, maybe drug him before the fight, maybe mess him around before the fight, don't let him get any sleep, have a party in the hotel room below his. They could find some way to compromise him, or they could just pay him to lose, Who knows? Did you think Campbell beat Linares? Razor close from what I remember. I think he was ahead, but then he got dropped, and that might have been the difference. It was a close fight, but I think Linares was a genuine winner. Before you mentioned you weren't a fan of Pastor Steven Anderson, the only stupid thing Anderson believes is that forced immigration and open borders is fine. What criticism you have towards him? Well, if he believes that forced immigration and open borders is fine, then clearly he's not entirely legit, is he? Because anybody with an ounce of intelligence knows that that's not going to be good for any nation, is it? What I've seen with Pastor Steven Anderson is I see a guy who's very charismatic, shouts a lot, very, very articulate, speaks well and talks over people. And, a lot of people gravitate towards that. You see a lot of these mega churches that have pastors like that. But I think that Steven Anderson, to me, comes across as a bit of a provocateur. He comes across as a guy who does what he does for the sake of controversy. And, you'll see documentaries made about him, like from the BBC and whatnot. They call him a hate preacher and whatnot. It seems to me like he's a bit of a, like I said, he's a bit of a provocateur. I don't really know another word to use to describe him, but he comes across as like he's on a stage acting, if you know what I mean. He doesn't come across as a guy who is genuinely repentant and is genuinely passionate about the gospel. Like, to me, he just comes across as one of these mega church preachers and one of these guys who kind of uses religious zealotry. I don't trust him. He's dodgy to me. Maybe there's a lot of truth in the things he says, but that's what you see about a lot of preachers. That's what you see with a lot of disinformation agents. You see that with a lot of these people is they provide you a lot of truth, but you can't really be a master deceiver without providing a lot of truth. Heard rumours of Wilder possibly fighting Joseph Parker. Could be interesting. Yeah, I've seen something about that. That'll be an interesting fight. Probably favour Parker at this stage. I just give Wilder a puncher's chance, but Parker's never been dropped and he's got a good chin and he's got good survival instinct. So I'd favour Parker in that fight now. Much younger and much more athletic. 1. Yeah, a lot of people seem to think so. You have to blow Canelo out on the cards to beat him, especially in Vegas. It depends if the establishment want him to win or not. If they want him to win, he'll win, even if you do blow him out in the scorecards, I think. Just depends if they have plans for him or not. If they want him to lose to kind of throw us a bone and throw us off the scent of corruption, then why not, Maybe that's what happened against Bivol. Do you think Triple G beats Canelo in a non-rigged fight? I think, die to age, Canelo will scrape the win while looking bad. I don't know. I think Triple G's capable of winning the fight in a non-rigged fight, but whether or not he will do it at 40 years old, we'll have to see. I think he can do it, but I don't know if he will. AJ better win a man coming fresh out of war, and he just struck a mega deal with DAZN. Yeah, he did. That's what's concerning me about it, man. Something's got to give, man. That money that they've invested in AJ is huge. I've never heard anything like it in boxing, man. I still think Pastor Steven Anderson is the most legit preacher out there. But another one you might like better is Pastor Tommy McCarthy from the Liberty Baptist Church. Well, I'll check him out. I don't know much about him, but I'll definitely check him out and we'll see. Chocolatito is the most skilled active boxer, IMO. I wanted to see the Ioka fight, but would rather see this. Choco handling his decline much better than Kazuto. Yeah, they both had hard careers, and they're both great fighters, and that would be a great fight too. But yeah, I think Chocolatito, to me, seems to be looking better with age. He might not be as quick or as athletic as he was, but skill-wise, so much better. Like, his skills are coming together very nicely, Chocolatito, and he looked better than ever in his last fight, man, against a very good opponent. He really did. He's very good. I'm not sure if you heard of Paul Wittenberger, but he's a movie producer, has made great Christian documentaries and has been making documentaries about COVID called COVID Land. Paul Wittenberger. The name sounds familiar. It rings a bell, but I don't think I know who he is. I'll definitely need to check him out. Like, what's the name of some of his other documentaries or movies? Like some of the Christian ones. I need to check them out. Bro, if Bivol beats the cash cow at 68 to become undisputed, he's legendary. Yeah, can you imagine he beats Canelo at 175, then moves down, to give Canelo an advantage, then beats him again and wins all the titles. Like, that's a very unique situation in boxing, isn't it? I can't think off the top of my head of anything even remotely similar to that happening before. It's strange, isn't it? One of the best Christian documentaries you can watch on YouTube for free, if you're able to find it, is one called The Sodomite Deception by Pastor Jonathan Shelley. I'll send you a link to it. Thanks. I'll definitely check that out. The Sodomite Deception. I'll remember that name. It's quite catchy. And I will definitely check it out. Pastor Anderson is not bad, but I get shill vibes. Same with me. Sometimes, it's just a gut feeling about certain people, Hey, bro, I'm only a casual ice hockey fan. Is Wayne Gretzky still the GOAT? Yeah, he could tell you more than me. I know nothing about ice hockey. Well, sorry, 1 second, guys. Doesn't Steven Anderson think Miss? I can't read that, man. How do you pronounce that word? I feel like a dumbass now. Misgenation is fine. Dodgy if so. Yeah, I can't read that word, man. I can't pronounce it. Had a bit of a brain fog then. The Sodomite Deception documentary exposes why homosexuals are evil that will burn in hell, how the Bible teaches we should hate them. There's no hope of salvation for these people. Yeah, but again, at the end of the day, we should still be preaching. As Christians, we are called to seek the company of sinners, aren't we? We are told to preach the gospel to all who will hear it. So I don't think it helps to just flat out leave everybody out in the cold, if you know what I mean, and just damn everybody without even trying to preach to them. I think it's important, no matter what people's sins are. I mean, there were horrible sinners in the Bible who repented and who turned to Christ. So people who committed heinous acts. So it's not like you can't be saved. I know I've done horrible things in my life. I did horrible things in my youth that I'm genuinely repentant about, and I believe I am saved. I know I'm saved. So it's not as if it's impossible. Hate the sin, not the sinner. Essentially. Would you guys like to see Wallin versus Joyce? Both guys are being avoided. Good fight. Yeah, Wallin didn't look very good in his last fight, but he's one of these guys who kind of blows hot and cold. Like, he's looked very good in certain situations, but like against Tyson Fury, and I thought he looked pretty good against Granat as well. So he's a good fighter, but he's a guy who definitely has a lot of work to do, because he really, really showed up out of shape in his last fight and looked awful. And as for Joe Joyce, yeah, he's definitely been avoided. Parker recently avoided him. Chisora avoided him. A lot of guys, AJ doesn't seem too keen on fighting him. No one seems too keen on fighting Joyce. He's a handful, man. He's a big guy. He's got skills, great stamina, great chin. Was obviously a high-level amateur and Olympian. Very good fighter, man. I don't know what Yeah, again, I don't know how to say that, but it's the belief that a 25-year-old man can marry a 16-year-old girl. Then yes, that moron does believe that. He's pretty stupid on certain issues. Again, for whatever reason, I can't seem to. I feel like a dumbass. You guys are probably gonna laugh at me, but for whatever reason, I can't pronounce that word. I don't know why. I get like that sometimes. Some things go right over my head. Do you think Joseph Parker deserved the split decision against Chisora? Yeah, I thought Joseph Parker won that fight. A lot of my subscribers disagree, but I personally thought Joseph Parker won that fight. Close, but I thought he landed the cleaner, more effective punches the whole fight, man. I thought he won it. Triple G would beat Canelo, even at 40 in a real fight. Yeah, I agree, he could beat him, but we'll just see, man. It's not a foregone conclusion for me. Again, any 40-year-old fighting at that level, there's only so long that they can go on. Why are you so strongly Christian? It's a hard question, man. Once you become a Christian, you can never go back. And when I say become a Christian, I don't mean be indoctrinated into Christian teachings and read the Bible and be a practicing Christian. I'm talking about once you truly become born again, and once you have that spiritual experience, it's very difficult to go back. It's very difficult to put into words, but like it says in the Bible, I will give you a new heart. I will take your heart of stone and replace it with a heart of flesh. And that's basically what happens once you become a Christian, once you become truly born again and have that spiritual experience. You have a new heart with new desires. And all I desire right now is to receive salvation, and for everybody else to receive salvation too. It's all I care about, pretty much. Some people will never understand. I hope that they can understand. I hope they do. It's just a shame that they can't see it from that point of view. A lot of people, they're not just giving AJ that money. He needs to deliver too. The press and Hearn are misinforming the public to make AJ look like the superstar boxer worth that kind of money. Yeah, definitely, he has to earn it. But what you mean by he has to earn it, he has to deliver it, is you mean he has to win. And surely they're going to make sure he does, So what you're telling me is don't join PA. Oh, it's race mixing. Oh, I see. See, I didn't know what that word meant. I don't think I've ever heard that word before. I see. I feel like a dumbass, man. The BBC documentary left a lot of things out, as explained by Stephen Anderson. Anyone following him knows that he preaches a lot about the gospel, and he preaches a lot about other important doctrines. Yeah. I don't know. I get show vibes, man. I really do. I could be wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right. I've been wrong before. I'll probably be wrong again, but I don't know. We'll see, man. We'll see. Watched Stone. Watched it, yes. G1 comfortably, and he took it easy. Can you recommend me some good channels with similar content like Carnivals? Well, there's very few people with content like his, I tell you that. I don't know, man. I'd need to think about that and get back to you, but his channel's pretty unique. I put it that way. No one like him. Christ Forgiveness is a good YouTube. Yeah, I watch him. I watch that channel. He also debates racist black Hebrew Israelites and radical trans folk. Yeah, I watch that channel, Christ Forgiveness, and I also watch one I watch quite a lot is Living Waters. You know, that's Ray Comfort's YouTube channel. I watch his YouTube channel. Not saying that I always agree, but for the most part, he seems to get it right. You know, and he actually like evangelizes and preaches to people. You know. Father Separam Rose was a homosexual who repented. Yeah, exactly. It's not like it's not like they're completely beyond salvation. I believe they can be saved. If I can be saved, anybody can be saved. Repent is there. Never trust the pure haters. Interesting. While Stephen Anderson is known for yelling and hard preaching, that only makes up a small percentage of what his preaching is like. He has a lot of preaching that's mild, but still good to hear. Yeah, he's definitely very charismatic, and he's definitely a guy who comes across as very passionate. And I'm not saying he doesn't believe. I think he is a genuine believer. But again, a lot of things, a lot of these disinformation agents and a lot of controlled opposition, they say a lot of the right things, don't they? But there's always that nagging doubt, isn't there? If anyone in the chat can appreciate it too, yeah, go ahead. It's hard to trust organised religion sometimes, especially when you see the mega church preachers pulling up in private jets and all the cover-up child abuse going on in the Catholic Church. Yeah, absolutely. Like a lot of these organised religious institutions are what I generally don't trust, but I do trust the Bible. I do trust God. Okay, I do, and I trust my faith. You know, because again, it's not just you get indoctrinated into it. It's a genuine. But becoming a Christian, really becoming a Christian, is a genuine spiritual experience. Becoming born again. There's nothing like it. It's very difficult to explain. Stephen Anderson has attacked BLM and hip-hop culture pretty viciously, but I think he's too cowardly to admit that immigration is a problem, since he does have a lot of Hispanics in his congregation. Well, yeah, he's obviously feeling like he needs to keep those people on side. He needs to get the minority vote, so to speak. I mean, I'm actually a Puerto Rican Texan myself, and even I get sick and tired of all the immigration stuff. That's interesting. So, are you originally from Puerto Rico, or were you born in America? Like, I don't know. I'm curious about that for some reason. It doesn't matter if G isn't looking as good as 2015 and before. He still outboxed Canelo beautifully twice, and will do it again even at 40. If it's a real fight, that's what I see happening. I see it being a repeat of the first two fights. If you mean PA as in patriotic alternative, don't join. They'll ask for your name and address when you go to one of their meetings, dodgy stuff. Yeah, they're probably just a plant, aren't they? They're probably just some government plant group. Wouldn't surprise me. I never understood the term racial mixing. We are all racially mixed. Science and Christianity say that to extent. Well, yeah, there's definitely a lot of race mixing that went on throughout history. Like, I'm sure we've all got certain DNA from different races in us. You know, like as far back as as our lineage goes. Like, not all of us know where we came from, do we? So there's definitely going to be some race mixing. But I think when people say race mixing nowadays, they mean people who are literally, like, clearly, visibly different race. You know, like an African dating a Chinese person. You know, it's people who are clearly very, very far apart in terms of their ethnicity. You know, I think that's what they mean by it. I also think if they do let AJ lose, they'll use him to promote boxing in Asia. The zone is big there. Lots of money laundering going on as well. Yeah, I've suspected for a long time that money laundering and boxing basically go hand in hand, because the amount of money that companies like the Zone waste on these fighters, like paying Mikey Garcia all that money, like 14 million or whatever it was, to fight Jesse Vargas. Surely there's no way that they can justify that. Paying Tevin Farmer $1 million or however much they paid him, he doesn't generate anywhere near that. So it's not like the revenue or the ticket sales are going to justify these purses, are they? How can they justify the money that's being spent on these fighters? Clearly there's something else going on. And I think if MTK are anything to go by, we know how they were making their money. You know, they were, well, we suspect, allegedly they were involved in money laundering. So, yeah, they go hand in hand, man, as far as I'm concerned. I think is what it is, man. Father Spryden is a British Orthodox priest who has a great YouTube channel. Well, I'll definitely check that out. It sounds interesting, man. Boxing and organised crime have been hand in hand for as long as the sport has existed. Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, it's no secret, is it, that the Mafia used to run boxing? Okay, you know, when the mob ran boxing, it was generally accepted that you get to a certain level, and you know you'd have to take one for the team. Essentially, you know that's not even a secret. I mean, it's not a conspiracy theory to say that. We all know that boxing was ran by the mob at one point in time, and to say that there's no money laundering going on in boxing now, when you see the amount of money that's being thrown at these fighters who don't generate anywhere near as much as they're being offered, you gotta wonder. Like, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? And especially with what's happened in the last few months with MTK and what's been revealed about them, and how they've basically moved on to another company now, you know, just using a different name. It really says a lot, doesn't it, man? Like I was saying earlier, all the money that's been invested in Anthony Joshua, you know, for a multiple fight agreement, the site fee in Saudi Arabia, as well as the amount of money that DAZN has put up for the multiple fight contract, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, for a fight he could potentially lose, for a rematch, really, like it just... I'm skeptical, man. I'm really skeptical about it. Yeah, no problem. Shout out to Del Boy, Blue Collar Sports TV. Good to see you here, man. MTK seemed like a blatant money laundering outfit. They hosted so many shows on YouTube. How is that sustainable? Yeah. MTK were stealing a lot of these fighters from, obviously, other promoters and managers, and offering these guys like a shit ton of money. Like Carl Frampton, for example, they offered him a crazy amount of money to sign with them, and they weren't even charging some of these guys management fees at times. Like, so they were hardly making any money, if any, like with these guys. And we've heard people like Ben Davison and people connected to the Furies, and a lot of people who talk about Daniel Kinahan. They're very complimentary about Daniel Kinahan, but they're almost a little bit too complimentary, aren't they? And you'll often hear them slip in these interviews, and they'll say things like, oh, he has, out of the goodness of his heart, he's promoted guys at a loss. And I'm like, yeah, that's called money laundering. I mean, come on, man. Like, if you're promoting guys and putting on these shows and not making any money, what is he just doing it out of the goodness of his heart, for the love of the sport, for the passion of the sport? No, there's more to it than that. There's obviously stuff going on behind the scenes, man. And there's no smoke without fire. Exactly. For example, people 1,000 years ago mixing with other Europeans is very different from a white man today mixing with a black woman like our boy Sonny. Yeah, it's definitely different. You know, there's definitely... Look, I covered all this earlier. You know, it's having some DNA from a different race going back hundreds of thousands of years It's very, very different to what he was talking about earlier. I'm for border control and some countries maybe being blocked from coming to Europe. But as for race, as a Christian, we should view all races as equal. It's culture that's the problem, not race. Yeah, I agree, absolutely. As a Christian, we're all brothers and sisters in Christ, as far as I'm concerned. Shout out to Bruce Goes. Good to see you here, man. Big fan of the channel. Salute Nordic Warrior. Been listening in the car. Yeah, man. Good to see you here. God bless you. Shout out to G-Man Boxing. Good to see you here too, man. Some big names in the YTBC dropping in here. Yeah, good to see you here, man. God bless. Doing a good job with the channel. Jake Harris says, Sonny Liston is the perfect example. Guy was in bed with the mob. Yeah, he was. And it's generally believed too that the mob were the ones who offed him, It's generally believed. And a lot of people don't believe his wife's story about what happened and how she found him, So, again, it's a very well-known fact that the mob and organised crime have been involved with boxing. And to just pretend like they aren't still, it would be a bit naive, in my opinion. It would be naive to just pretend that boxing is this perfectly well-regulated sport and that there's nothing dodgy about it, and all these fights are entirely on the level and entirely fair and entirely real. It's just a really naive way of looking at it, man. The real scum channels out there like LDBC, yeah, screw the LDBC, man. They're just a bunch of race grifters, man. That's all they are. Is Al Heyman some saint? Yeah, exactly. Is Don King a saint? It's not like that guy's never. It's not like that guy doesn't have a rap sheet, is it, man? Daniel Kinahan has love in his heart. Just forget all the murders he has called for. Yeah, that's the thing. He just does it for the fighters, man. He's got all this passion for the sport, and he really wants to help these guys make a great living for themselves, and he wants to help these guys give back to their communities and have a great career and set up their finances for the future. But if these guys get out of line, they might get their brains blown out in public. But that's just what comes along with the territory. It is what it is, man. He's a good guy, Daniel Kinahan. Got a lot of time for him. Really, really good guy. Furies live under leftist agenda, so why you hate, bro? Is that directed at me? I don't know, man. I rewatched the Mayweather and Cotto fight, and I forgot how tough a fight it was for Mayweather. Yeah, Cotto actually broke Mayweather's nose, I think, and busted him up a bit. That was a close fight. It was competitive. BLM agenda is 10 times worse than Kinahan. Well, yeah, I mean, look, they're both nothing good about them, is there? About either, really. Sonny Liston didn't have a choice. Yeah, he was caught up with the mob. He was into them real deep, and he himself had a rap sheet. He was arrested many times, and he was involved with crime like most of his life. So, yeah, man, it's a shame. It was a tragic story, a sad situation. Cash Ali is close to getting into the IBF top 10 rankings at the moment. Is that right? I didn't even realize that he was still fighting. Yeah, Cash Ali, man, the guy who bit David Price. That was. I'm not gonna lie, that was disturbing, but it was also pretty funny. There's something weird about it, man. I preferred Kinahan to others, still do. I don't know. Do you know Kinahan? Like, do you know him personally? And do you understand the dangers that have been put through communities because of him? The poison that's been pushed through Ireland. There's a lot about Daniel Kinahan that I'm sure you haven't heard. A lot of dodgy stuff, and I'm not saying he hasn't done good things too, but let's not pretend that he's a saint. Let's not pretend that guy hasn't been involved with some shit in the past, man. Yeah, Liston was it was a tragedy, man, what happened with him. The guy just had a really sad life, and pure negativity what happened with him. And I believe personally that his fights with Cassius Clay were fixed. I think both of them were fixed. I think the mob told him to lose. I've believed that ever since I saw those fights. Well, Cash Ali is 11th. WTF all these rankings. Do you know what? I'm going to look on BoxRec now, and I'm going to look at Cash Ali's ratings, or I'm going to look at Cash Ali's record. So bear with me a second. Just opening BoxRec. We're going to have a look at this. I just want to see who he's been fighting lately, like since he fought Price, because I've not been following his career ever since that. So let's have a look. Okay, so bloody pop-ups, go away. All right, so after being disqualified by Price, so he's fought a few journeymen in the UK and a bunch in car. He's been fighting in car parks and arenas. The last guy he fought was 2-1. So how is he? And it was a 6-rounder. How is he up there in the IBF rankings? I don't understand that. That's a bit weird. That's a bit dodgy. I find that hard to believe, man. How is he up there in the rankings when he's fighting guys that have literally had 3 pro fights, 7 pro fights? Like, come on, man. What's that all about? Like 2-1 was his last opponent, man. You know, top 20 contenders don't fight that level of competition. That's weird. You know, eight fights, man. Don't see how Tommy entering the US is a national security threat. Was he ever actually managed by MTK? It's probably just because of his connections with his family. You know, he's probably because he's connected with Tyson, connected with Peter, connected with John, and, you know, they've all got a rap sheet, you know, or at least Peter and John have. You know, they've both done time, and they've both been affiliated with the Kinahans, so it's probably just guilty by association, you know, because that whole cartel is under investigation. You know, the whole Kinahan cartel, they're all being looked at, aren't they? And a lot of people are scared to talk about it, sadly, but yeah, I ain't scared, I tell you that. Thought he quit. Yeah, he's 11. Ali coming for that, but yeah. Do you know what? Let's make, if Usyk beats AJ, let's make Usyk versus Cash Ali. That'd be funny, man. They could have it in a car park in Sheffield. That'd be fun. Can imagine that. It's because he won those IBF European titles. Would be funny to see him versus Usyk. Yeah, it would, man. Could you imagine that? Usyk versus Cash Ali for the world title, man. That'd be funny. I'm not going to lie. I'd watch it. I would. I'd watch it. I'd enjoy it. I'd enjoy every minute of it. African Horde's coming soon to UK. Oh, they've already been long ago, man. Long ago. Is what it is. Nothing I can do about it. But man, Cash Ali ranked number 11 with the IBF. What are the IBF playing at, man? Yeah, he won an IBF European title, whatever, but how did he get that title? Against who? Like, man, I don't understand boxing sometimes. I really don't. Tyson Fury versus Cash Ali, make it happen. Yeah, why not? I'd watch it. Funny how Fury is already avoiding Usyk. Yeah, Fury's never seemed keen on fighting Usyk, has he? You know, that's always been a fight that he's never really seemed too interested in. You know, Usyk, of course, resembles some of the guys who's given Fury a lot of problems. You know, when Fury fought Otto Wallin, who's a southpaw, who's quite quick, he had a lot of problems in that fight. He got cut, went the distance, you know, got stunned several times. When he fought Steve Cunningham, another smaller guy who was fast, cruiserweight with good movement, good speed, good athlete, he got dropped in that fight and got outboxed. So it's not as if the size advantage that Fury would bring to that fight would be the be-all and end-all of how the fight would go. You know, Fury struggled with smaller guys in the past. You could argue that his smaller opponents have given him more problems than the bigger opponents, you know. So I don't know, man. I think that Usyk could outbox him and he could win on points in a fair fight, you know. Have you ever looked into Rastafarianism? I have not. I certainly have not. I'm sure you'll tell me more about it. Fury doesn't have to avoid Usyk. He'll fight Gage after he wins the fix. In the fix, easy win for Fury, and he becomes undisputed. Yeah, probably. I mean, look, there's a lot of money invested in that fight, and there'll be a lot of money to be made with a undisputed fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. That's a massive fight. So, yeah, man, it is what it is, man. They'll probably try and sell us that fight after the AJ Usyk fight. Like, they'll probably have something up their sleeves. They'll probably rob Usyk, or they'll probably set him up. I don't know, man. I've got a bad feeling about it. I really have, man. I doubt the herb is as good as they say. African hordes came across Europe 40 years ago. Yeah, of course they did, man. And have only been multiplying ever since. Same as the rest of us. 1 second. UK now on streets, I hear no English voices. It's that bad. Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you walk down any high street of the UK, I know it's like that where I live anyway. You hear a lot of foreign voices, a lot of foreign accents, and the place is unrecognisable, you know. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. But that's how it is now, you know. Are there any good documentaries you can recommend similar to Out of Shadows? Well, there was another one that was it was an Out of Shadows, but it was a UK version, but that completely disappeared. I haven't been able to find it since. But it was very good, that documentary. But the sad thing is, YouTube took those documentaries down and censored them. And if you try to re-upload them, I actually tried to re-upload them on another channel, and they take them down pretty much immediately. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm sure somebody would know, but I don't know of any that are still up at the moment, man. Joshua is rubbish, man. His resume is painfully thin, full of 40-year-olds and bums. Well, yeah, his best wins are definitely against old men. There's no doubt about that. He's had some good wins, but like I said, they've been faded opponents. You know, guys like Vlad and Povetkin. Whereas obviously Parker was a good win, but did he really win that fight? I don't know, man. Yeah, he's not got the best resume. You know, Usyk is definitely a better fighter of the two. He has a better resume, in my opinion, by far. You know, what he did at cruiserweight, his resume in the cruiserweight division is something else, you know. Same Nordic. I go local butchers, man. Yeah. I like to go to butchers. I know, man. Sure is. YouTube whack. Look on BitChute for documentaries. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, mate, BitChute is owned by Google, which is the same company that owns YouTube. So it's really the same people, man. I don't know. I don't really use BitChute anyway, because when I have tried to use it, nothing loads, man. It's just trash, I think. But if it works for you, then that's good, man. I wonder why they want immigration. Some theorize that it's to replace whole races wholly, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure either, man. Well, I don't know. I don't know what the agenda is, but I'm sure there's something, you know. AJ's best wins was when he was on his best PEDs possible. That Vlad fight, he was juiced to the gills. Well, he must have been, you know, to fight at the pace he did, and managed to get a late stoppage in that fight, you know. What are you talking about? The Ruiz rematch was a masterclass. It was a masterclass performance from Anthony Joshua. He has risen like a phoenix to win back his title. And the class and the defense. Just channeling my inner Adam Smith with that one. Just about every backup channel for Steven Anderson has been shut down, and it's extremely difficult to find his preaching on YouTube. So I doubt he's controlled opposition. Well, you say that, but let's not forget, wasn't Alex Jones banned from YouTube? Wasn't all his content removed? And are you going to tell me Alex Jones wasn't controlled opposition? I mean, it happens, man. This is like four-dimensional chess that they're playing with our minds, man. You know, they're psychologically manipulating us with these people. And again, I'm not saying that I'm right about all of them, but all I'm saying is I'm skeptical, man. I really am. I live terraced house, center of big city. Oh, sorry, what am I saying, man? I'm reading that. I live terrace house, center of big city. Left house, a Chinese hooker. Right house, a Romanian drug dealer. I hate Britain now. Well, I mean, look, I work on a housing estate, right? And I'm telling you right now, every bloody day is crime, violence, graffiti, and cultural differences that causes a lot of it. Let's just say I see a lot of things that you're talking about where I live, and yeah, it's not very good, man. It's really not. It's a problem, but again, what can I do about it? Nothing. I'm wasting energy even talking about it. These scumbags have taken over cities. They've taken over cities. They've taken over communities. It's a problem, man. It really is. But again, they want us wasting energy on it and worrying about it when we can't change it. AJ probably spent upwards of $5,000 a month on roids. You're probably being conservative there. $5,000, probably considerably more, man. Probably considerably more. Is Alex Jones back? I don't know. I don't follow him, but my point was that he was clear, controlled opposition, and he got banned. So again, it's never as straightforward as you think. They ban them to make the illusion that they're genuine. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that they it's the same thing they did. Like they put Tommy Robinson or someone in prison to make you think that he's legit when really he's one of them. He's a provocateur. He's a disinformation agent. They're all the same, man. Yeah, me too. I don't know if you've ever listened to more than one of his sermons, but if you go to his website, you can listen through his sermons and see if you think his preaching is consistent with the Bible. Yeah, it could be. I definitely need to look into it a lot more. You could be right. Again, I'm just going off my own gut feeling, my own hunch. Labour and the Tories are pro-mass immigration. Well, look, the Labour MPs and the Tory MPs are all educated by the same people. They have the same agenda. They're two wings of the same bird. They're essentially the same people. It's just keeping us stuck in this right versus left two-party system that people are so caught up in. This manufactured culture war. That's what it is, man. It's a manufactured culture war, and they want us all engaging in it and wasting energy on it rather than being productive with our own lives. It's to be expected, man. One second. All right, where was I? Thanks. What's weird about the controlled figures is the women look exactly like men. Look at the size of Lauren Southern's Adam's apple, bigger than a lot of blood. Yeah, Lauren Southern, complete and utter clown. Do you know what's funny is she ran out of money and then she came back and was trying to grift again, but a lot of people weren't having it. Obviously, the simps were having it, but a lot of people weren't, because they weren't being fooled a second time. How many jabs have you had? 0. That's your answer. I go to church 2 days a week, but never sure if can be called a Christian. It's a big part of life, though. I get peace from it. Well, yeah, clearly there's something about it that draws you there. You clearly gravitate towards it for some reason, and it seems to me like you're on the right path, to becoming a Christian. Once you have that spiritual experience, you'll never go back. Personally, I've had 27 boosters. Yeah, all of them up your arse, isn't it? You can't even write something on YouTube without it being deleted within minutes. Never mind having a genuine anti-agenda channel. Yeah, I was... That pissed me off earlier because I was writing comments earlier in videos and they're just disappearing immediately. Not even... The YouTube bots don't even give the comments a chance to be verified. They just delete them immediately. For literally no reason. There's nothing wrong with my comments. And they get deleted. It's bloody annoying, man. It annoys the crap out of me. It really does. It's just totalitarian control. It really is, man. Anderson never had nearly as many subscribers as Alex Jones. He also doesn't have sponsors and things like that. But I do think he can be a prideful idiot at times, but not an actor. Yeah, I mean, look, again, you obviously know a lot more about Anderson than I do, and I definitely need to do my research, Tommy Robinson is such an obvious shill. Yeah, of course he is, man. Probably one of the most obvious shills in the history of obvious shills. What do you think of the disproportionate Jewish Zionist control of media, governments, and other institutions of the West? What do I think of it? I don't know. I think you can guess what I think of it, you know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that. You need to be more specific. Have you seen the video of the Christians protesting protesting the LGBT parade in Seattle? I don't think I've seen it. I'll need to look it up. Why? What happened? If it's something major, I'll definitely check it out. Well, the preaching against it, you mean? 2030, be all deleted. It's garbage. Yeah. The free donut. Yeah, did you get your free donut? You know, they almost had me convinced there. You know, I'd have taken it, man. If I knew for certain I was going to get my free donut. If they'd have thrown in like a free iron brew, I would have taken it. Yeah. You're going to get banned answering a question like that. Like, I wasn't even thinking about getting banned. I just wasn't really sure how to articulate it, if you know what I mean. I think a lot of it, you know, there's a lot I think about it, but how do I really put it into words here on the spot? Like, I just don't know, man. Yeah, that's good of them. It takes a lot of courage to do that, man. Like, I don't know if I would have the courage to do like open street preaching, especially in an LGBT place, because what would happen is, I tell you right now from personal experience, those people are very violent and they bring out the worst in me, if you know what I mean. I'd probably do something I regret if I was put in that situation, you know. So I tell you one thing, they're better men than me. You know, these open air preachers who go out and preach to people, and especially preaching to sinners in particular. You know, that I admire it. I really do, because it's something I don't think I could do. At least not now. At least not until I can become more articulate and more confident. You know, and control my temper a bit more. Well, you know about it. That's good enough. Well, there you go. Here's what it is, man. God bless. Shout out to Basebox Basement. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of your content lately, man. I'm enjoying it. God bless. If you found your missus in bed with Gay J, what would you do? Well, of course I would tuck him in. Of course. What else can I do? It's AJ. I'd probably offer to make him a sandwich or something. You know. That's what it is. What else could I do, man? It's AJ. my casino is centre of LGBT parade this Saturday. It's a bum fest in toilets. Yuck. It's kind of oh man, that makes me feel sick when I hear that. Oh man. The offer of a free donut was too tempting. It's not like I can get a 6-pack from the co-op for 99p. Yeah, man. Yeah, you can take this extremely experimental serum and inject it into your arm, but you get a free donut. You get a free cheap pastry, you know. Yep, Triple B in the house, man. Triple B in the house. Out of Shadows has 1.5 million views. Is still up on YouTube. Screams frame the narrative. Is it? I thought it got deleted. I thought Out of Shadows got deleted. Maybe I'm wrong. I once wrote in the Triple B's comment section that Watford LGBT infested was deleted immediately. Yeah, most of my comments like that get deleted. You've no idea the amount of comments I've posted which have been entirely factual, nothing wrong with them, and they get immediately deleted. Like, oh man, it happens all the time. It's a pain in the arse. I'm sick of moaning about it, you know. Again, I've got to control my temper these days, man. I really have, because that'll just set me right off if I even think about it. I wasn't interested in getting my booster until they offered me free transition surgery for the next 2 generations of my bone marrow babies. Nah, you had me at donut, man. Donut was enough for me. You know, just a cheap sugar donut. That was enough for me, man. You know, because it's all about health. Next, they'll be. Do you know what they'll do? You know, they'll advertise gym memberships, and they'll say you get a free burger when you join the gym. You know. Oh man, that's crazy, man. You have to sing, "Oh, Anthony Joshua." You know, the white British football fans in the stadiums going, "Oh, Anthony Joshua." The kind of people that watch boxing like twice a year, you know. Everybody sing it with me. "Oh, Anthony Joshua. Oh, Anthony Joshua. Sweet Caroline. Oh, oh, oh." Yeah, those are the Matchroom Brigade, you know, Sky Sports fanboys, that's them. What were your thoughts on AJ threatening those college kids who were heckling him from their room? I don't really think much of it, to be honest. Probably just a publicity stunt or something. I don't know, man. I'd know my eyes were deceiving me, as Gay J would never be in bed with a woman. Yeah, he'd rather be in bed with Eddie Hearn, I think. I think they'd share a twin bed, wouldn't they? You know, Hearn will have to sing him to sleep at night while he's preparing to fight Usyk. Just to help AJ get some sleep, because he's going to be panicking up until the fight, you know. Not good. Pisses me off. We hate it. Deleted by simps. Monkeypox Polo is still giving the jabs to children. Yeah, man, it's disgusting. Giving any of that to a child. You never mention what kind of music you listen to. I'm thinking you like Oasis. Do you know? To be honest, I've never really been a big music guy. To be honest, like I don't really have a preferred genre. Oasis, I'm not a fan of Oasis. I think I liked one of their songs years and years ago. I don't know. I listen to like video game soundtracks. You know, like if I like a video game, I'll listen to like the official soundtrack of the game. But when it comes to like actual like pop music or any licensed music, it's not usually something I'm into. You know, I don't know. It's just never really been. It's never really been a passion of mine. You know. Triple B, you don't need to worry. You find your wife in bed with AJ. You know nothing is happening there. Yeah, they're just having a little girly talk. You know, they're talking about men, and you know, having a glass of wine and watching Loose Women. You know, that's what AJ would be doing with your wife. You know, you're putting lives at risk if you haven't had your booster. Yeah, you're killing Granny. That's what you're doing, man. You are selfish. You need to wear your mask. He likes Kasabian. That rings a bell. Who is that? The donut is worth my health. I know my priorities. Yeah, that cheap donut is worth my health, man. Casual AJ fans, yeah. Oh, Anthony Joshua. Oh, Anthony Joshua. Sweet Caroline. That's the white British football fans down to a T. Those are the people that think Paul Smith is a world class fighter, you know. The Sky Sports fanboys, the Matchroom Brigade, Matchroom Sky Sports fanboys. Everyone who I know who had it has a shit immune system. Do you know, I was talking about this with some of my colleagues at work. They were saying the same thing. Because some of them got it, and since they did, they've not been very well. They've not been the same, you know. Trust me, I've been hearing it all over. Do you think Hearn has given him a hand J yet? Oh, I hope not, man. Eddie Hearn, the butt breaker. I like that term, butt breaker. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of funny. Yep, video game OST for the win. Absolutely. That's what I listen to. That's my preferred genre of music. Video game soundtracks. I like normie pop music for some reason. I won't lie. Yeah, do you like your Taylor Swifts and whatnot? I don't think AJ is a hermaphrodite. Nordic music he likes is Street Fighter arcade game. Yeah, or Mortal Kombat, or that type of thing. Or Dead or Alive, you know, all that music's awesome. Or the Spyro the Dragon soundtrack. See if you guys want to hear some badass music. You want to see some awesome badass music, check out the Spyro the Dragon soundtrack. One of the best video game soundtracks of all time. Video game soundtracks are masterpieces in many cases, especially the 90s and early 2000 ones. Absolutely. You took the words right out of my mouth. You know, retro video game music is amazing, man, especially the 90s and early 2000s, without a doubt, man. And like I said, check out the Spyro the Dragon soundtrack. It's great. It's really good. Eddie Hearn gets, or should I say gives, inaugurate. Yeah, man. If AKA Skins found Eddie Hearn in bed with Gay J, he would tuck Eddie Hearn in, or get in as well. He likes rich white men. Yeah, man, they could have a threesome, innit? Oh, it's disturbing, man. Yeah, the Rat Room Mongols. I think Paul Smith is a world-class fighter. Come on, man. Yeah, man. Paul World level Smith. It's disgusting. It's disgusting how they robbed me in Germany. What's up, guys? God bless it. Yeah, God bless Gerson. Good to see you here, man. God bless. Is that new ESRB boxing game coming out soon? It looks awesome. I keep hearing little things about it. I keep seeing snippets of it, but I haven't heard anything about a release date. I don't know when it's coming out, man. I like Calvin Harris, and yeah, you like all that stuff, like DJ stuff. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that stuff personally. No Sir Elton for nothing. Yeah. Are you ready? Are you ready for love? Yeah, that's my type of music. Could you imagine if that was my type of music? Oblivion has some good. Yeah. You know the guy who composed the music for Oblivion. In fact, he did the music for the Elder Scrolls series. Jeremy Soule. He's the greatest video game music composer of all time. Like, his soundtracks are amazing. I'm talking amazing. Like look up any of his soundtracks. Look up his soundtrack for Knights of the Old Republic, or even the Harry Potter games, or of course the Elder Scrolls games. Like that guy's like a master of video game soundtracks. He is. The Sweet Caroline thing has gone a bit OTT now. Rod Stewart said the BBC made him sing it at Jubilee whilst he performed it. Yeah, I got sick of hearing it a long time ago, man. I also heard that song was like a nonce song or something. Like wasn't Carolina Wayne or something. I always liked the game Pit Fighter. You could break books with sticks, dustbins, and ninja stars. Which Hollywood actor do you hate most? For me, it's that absolute sewer shit Seth Rogen. If there's any actor I'd like to see get beaten to death, it's that atheist pervert. Seth Rogen's just one of these actors who I think, supposedly he's popular, but I don't know anybody who likes him. Supposedly he's funny, but I don't know anybody who finds him funny. I think he's just one of these guys who they pretend is famous when really he's not. You know, he's just a clown. Never liked a single thing he's ever done. Complete joke. And yeah, he's a degenerate too. Of course he is. He's an atheist. What games you look forward to coming out in the near future? As shit as it's all gone, I'm up for God of War, Final Fantasy 16, and BOTW 2. I'll torrent Elder Scrolls 6. I'm not really excited about any game. Like I was saying, I think I said this on one of my other streams. I'm only really interested in retro gaming, so old schools and so old school like platformers and RPGs and stuff like that. That's all my gaming. In fact, on my gaming channel, one project I'm working on is I'm going to do my top 100 favorite video games of all time. That's going to be a long ass video, and it's going to take a lot of recording, but I'm definitely going to do it. That's a video I'm looking forward to making. Metroid, yeah, classic. Metroid, in my opinion, has the best soundtrack in their game. Yeah, the Metroid games are awesome, man. Yeah, Paul World Level Smith. Porno threesome, AJ Chisora and Hearn, title. Oreo, yeah, Hearn has to go in the middle, doesn't he? You play any Tekken? Yeah, I played a Tekken game years and years ago, one of the old ones for the PS1. That was awesome, man. Those were great fighters, man. They really were. 258, the Buck Broken Gang. 258, the Buck Broken Gang. That's good, man. Didn't AJ fuck Khan's wife? I heard something about that. Didn't Khan claim that was what AJ did? I don't know if it really happened. I don't know if it was true. Kingdom Come Deliverance has a good soundtrack. I've never played that. I'll need to check it out though. I liked Avicii for exposing noncery, but then they whacked him. Yeah. Do you know what? That wouldn't surprise me at all if that was what happened. I mean, look at what happened to Isaac Cappy. I think you probably would know about that, BBB. If you don't know about what happened to Isaac Cappy, who exposed a lot of what went on in Hollywood, go and look that up. That's a disturbing situation. I think you'd enjoy looking into that one, man. Really creepy. That's another thing lacking in modern films is iconic signature themes. Yeah, they've kind of run out of ideas, haven't they? They tend to just use popular licensed music nowadays rather than actually doing some original soundtracks for films and games nowadays. It's not, especially with films, like it's not what it used to be, where they used to have their own like themes that you hear it immediately and you know what it is. Like nowadays, it's usually just popular music. If you look at all these like superhero films now, it's always popular music that they use in it, at least most of the time. Imagine Scott Harrison and Liam Williams singing Elton John as a duo. Now that's comedy. Yeah, do you know what? I could kind of picture that, but it wouldn't be a pretty sight, you know. You should do some more movie reviews. Yeah, I've thought about it. The problem is that just Hollywood, you know, it's depressing. You know, movies nowadays are just all leftist propaganda, all of them. They're just social engineering trash. So I don't really see the point in it. But what I think I will do is I'll go back to reviewing some retro movies, you know, some movies from the past, because there's a lot of great movies from like the 90s and early 2000s that I'd like to review. So I definitely will get back to it at some point. You think an Old Republic movie be good if done right? No, absolutely no way. No way. Knights of the Old Republic is a classic. I never want to see a movie of it, especially not with Disney involved, you know. Sweet Caroline is about a 9-year-old Caroline Kennedy, pure nonsense. Yeah, I heard something about that, and yeah, that's pretty disturbing, man. And it explains why it's been promoted so hard by the media, doesn't it, man? The Nier series has an amazing OST. I don't think I've seen it. I don't think I've played it. Pit Fighter game was always reduced like 99p. I swear it was reduced as soon as it came out. Shit was so bad it was good. Gaming in general has gone backwards. I miss the old games. Yeah, I miss the late 90s, early 2000s in terms of gaming. It was just so much better. That was like the golden era of gaming, in my personal opinion. You like 80s Commodore 64? I do. I never played it. Manic Minter is the ATG. No, Manic Miner is the ATG, yeah. Which DC superhero movie sucks the worst? I think Turds of Gay and Batman vs Superman, the worst superhero movies I've seen. I've seen Batman vs Superman. That was awful. It was so boring. Turds of Gay, I never watched it. I wouldn't subject myself to it. Manic Miner just set Willy, Operation Wolf, 80s classics. The 2000 was gaming at its peak. It got too corporate after the PS4 and Xbox One got released. Yeah, I mean it's all like microtransactions and online gaming, and it's not classic anymore, man. Like my favorite games are always gonna be like hardcore role-playing games and platformers and stuff like that were single player. That's my type of genre of gaming. And like I said, I'm gonna do my top 100 favorite video games of all time on my gaming channel, and you guys can check that out if you want to. I'm looking forward to it. That will be almost as painful for Hearn as re-signing Canelo and having him losing for the first time in 8 years. Yeah, it was, man. It would be. I gave up on video games. Wasted hours from my teens till early 20s. RuneScape took hours from me. Was fun though. If I could, I'd want those hours back. Yeah, RuneScape was one of them like World of Warcraft style MMOs, wasn't it? Like, I was never really into MMOs. I was always more of a single player type of gamer, you know. That was just always my thing. You haven't seen the 2-hour Justice League movie, then have you? I saw the that stupid Zack Snyder's Justice League. That was bloody terrible. I think I reviewed it. It was awful, man. It really was. I'm 47. I have PS5. Still love games. Yeah, I'm more of a retro gamer myself. Loved Halo. Oh, you liked Halo? Yeah, I actually reviewed the Halo games. I reviewed the quite recently. I reviewed the original Halo trilogy, the first 3 Halo games. Like, I've played the 4th one, but I wasn't a big fan of it. But I enjoyed the first 3 for what they were, and yeah, I reviewed those quite recently. Those were my recent ones. So yeah, in fact, do you know what I might do actually? If you bear with me a second, I might actually get a link to my review series for the Halo games, and I'll post it in the comment section. One sec, I'll see if I can find it. It's here somewhere. See if I can get a link to my Halo review series, and I'll stick that one on. Oh, 1 second, someone's at the door. I'll just go on mute for a second. Sorry about that, guys. Where was I? Yeah, somebody was at the door. Oh, yeah, I was going to post a link, wasn't I? Did I just copy it? Yeah. Let me see if that worked. I don't usually use the comment feature on StreamYard. Yeah, I think that's the link to my Halo review series. Hopefully I posted the right link. Knowing me, I didn't. All right, where was I? Okay. Let me get back to where I was. Yeah, AJ's at the door ready to kick my ass. I just skipped by that comment there. Yeah, you know about Isaac Cappe. Yeah, that is disturbing, man. God bless you. But yeah, I'm a lot of people saw that at the time, but it kind of died a death, if you know what I mean. It got swept under the rug, and nobody in the media covered it. That was disturbing, man. It really was. Foreign and or indie movies. I like some foreign movies, to be fair. Did you ever watch pro wrestling? I was never a big fan of pro wrestling, but I remember from time to time, like, if I was just flicking through the channels, it would sometimes be on. Like, I'd sometimes watch like TNA wrestling and stuff like that, but I was never a fan of it. It was never something that I watched like I do boxing, you know. Ewan McGregor is such a cook. He made one good movie, Trainspotting. Yeah, Ewan McGregor. It was funny to me hearing Ewan McGregor talk about, you know, he talks about misogyny and mistreating women and all that stuff. It's funny because that's the same Ewan McGregor who I heard cheated on his wife, did he not? You know, he cheated on his wife and humiliated her. But he's talking about treating women with dignity and what a twat, honestly, Ewan McGregor. Like, that guy's a bellend, he really is. But then again, what do I expect? He's a Hollywood actor. They're all the same, man. They're all the same. Yep, I don't believe in coincidences, at least not often. You like Conker's Bad Fur Day? I've never seen it, man. Has Gay J changed the laws of mathematics? Maths is racist anyway, because he works 25 hours a day and 8 days a week. Yeah, AJ defies the laws of physics. What's turds of gay? Birds of prey, but I call it turds of gay. What do you think of chewing the fat? I love chewing the fat. Chewing the fat's awesome. There's not a problem here. The big man. Yeah, I like Chewing the Fat, man. That's good. If you guys have never seen Chewing the Fat, check it out. It's a funny comedy skit show from Glasgow. It's kind of like Little Britain, but like a Scottish version. It came first, and it was quite funny, man. and it spanned off a spin-off series called Still Game, which was really good too. I like those shows, man. That's why I said if done right, no left strings attached. Yeah. 80s games were the best. There were good games in the 80s, but the 90s is more my era. Did you like Baldur's Gate style games, old Fallout? I never played the original Fallout, but I do have Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. They were pretty good, and I wasn't a big fan of Fallout 4 though. That game was flat out broken. Top-down RPGs. Again, I never played the old one, but I did play the Bethesda ones. World of Tanks, I've never played it. Is that any good? Good to see you here, Upset Man. God bless. Thoughts on the Assassin's Creed series? Do you know, personally, I was never a big fan of Assassin's Creed, and the reason why is, to me, Assassin's Creed was always a situation where I liked the medieval stuff and, the stealth mechanics and the assassinations and stuff like that and just the overall visual style of it. But I didn't like the whole going to the future and you play as Desmond and he gets hooked into the machine and all that stuff that's happening is all happening in his head and all that. And I never really got into all that. To me, that kind of took me out of the immersion, I was never a big fan of Assassin's Creed. I always preferred the Hitman series. If you want a great, assassination game, try the Hitman games, particularly Hitman Blood Money. That game's amazing. Fun game. If the 2-hour version, then you didn't see that Snyder cut huge difference. I saw both. They both suck. Definitely the only reason Gay J would sleep with Amir Khan's wife was if she had equal length to no longer than 8K skins. Oh, you crap me up, man. PS4 was a piece of crap. PS3 wasn't much better either. I'm glad video games suck now because I can at least focus on things that will be beneficial to me and not stuck in front of the TV. Yeah, you're a better man than me, man. I'm still addicted to video games, man. But then again, at least I'm kind of reviewing them now, so I've got more to do. Yeah, Gay J's at the door. He wants to kick my ass for insulting him, man. Oh. I'm scared. I really am. I like Assassin's Creed because the story is kind of a rendition of how there are so many behind-the-scenes allegiances with leadership and politicians. Yeah, it's an interesting story that way. But to me, it always took me out of the immersion, the whole going, flipping, you hook up to the machine and you're really in the machine and it's all going on in your head and it keeps going back and forth. That always annoyed me. I never liked it. Like I said, I always preferred Hitman. Once I quit games, I went from near bum status to almost being an electrical engineer. Yeah, I should probably quit games, and then I could maybe be the boss or something. You never know. I could get a promotion. You know about Missing 411? No, I don't know about that. What is it? The best pro wrestler is the Iron Sheik. He calls out small hats, or does he? No, I need to look. Who's that? I'll need to look up who that is. That's why I mean foreign movies over Western. Alright, so yeah, I do like some foreign movies. I wasted too much time on Football Manager. The control you get that game made it addicting. Yeah, there's a lot of games that are addicting, man. Hi, Nordic. Hi, how's it going, Anthony? Good to see you here, man. God bless. Ewan McGregor raised his children in the Jewish faith. Yeah, Ewan McGregor's a clown, man. He really is. He's a complete hypocrite. Liam Neeson's not that bad. He wanted to be a... I'm not going to say that out loud, man. Yeah, Liam Neeson, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. But I will find you, and I will kill you. Yeah, Liam Neeson, man. AJ is so amazing. If you don't believe me, just ask him, and he will tell you. He'll tell you. John Lennon wrote a few songs with opinions on women. Yeah, John Lennon was a clown though, man. I'm not a fan. The Beckhams have gone full JEW, have they? I don't know about the Beckhams. Is it? I don't know anything about the Beckhams, man. I still find Ewan McGregor's Angels and Demons fire scene funny. Don't think I've seen that. He is really. Did not know that. Hitman craps all over Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed was always overrated to me. Yeah, Hitman's badass, especially Blood Money. That's one of my favourite games of all time. That'll be on my top 100 list, you know. Just checked Wiki's early life section. He refers to himself as half Jewish. No, I didn't know that. Rather have Gay J at the door than Danny K. Mac the Knife. The big man is what John Fury is, yeah. Do you know what? I can totally see that, man. It's like, yeah, he that is exactly who John Fury thinks he is. Like, he just shows up, is there a problem here? You better be pulling my plunger. Shut it, fanny boys. Like that's what John Fury thinks, that people see him in that way, doesn't he? When really they just look at him and they thought, that glass-chinned idiot, you know, Tyson Fury's alky dad or whatever. That's probably what they think when they see him. But he thinks he's like this proper old school hard man, like this, a proper fighting man. Like that's what he thinks the image that he has is. But it's not. People just see him as a guy living through his son. That's all they see when they look at him. Absolute flipping clown. Nothing against you playing games, friend. I just can't control myself. If I start, I'm playing for thousands to tens of thousands of hours. I think nowadays I've gotten kind of the right balance. You know, I play games and I take breaks and I go out, I do my job. So, do you know, there's no better way, in my opinion, to wind down after a hard day's work than playing a video game. To me, I find it very therapeutic. I find it relaxing. That's just my experience, you know. I've been scripting a game called Porta Potty. It's like Mortal Kombat in Dubai, but instead of fatalities, you get to dump on a fallen opponent. It's the easiest opponent is Sonny Edwards, final boss KJ. I'd play that. Base Liam Neeson, yeah. Have you looked into Street Fighter 6 at all? Seems like it won't suck as bad as 5. I haven't looked into it, but you never know. I might pick it up if I feel like it. Yo, how's it going, MMA? Good to see you here, man. God bless. Do you get currency after a dump fatality? Triple G is in Canelo's head big time. Yeah, Canelo thinks that Triple G is two-faced. You know, he's really, really thinking about it a lot, isn't he? You know, he's thinking about Triple G's personality and the fact that Triple G boxed his head off twice and refused to lay down for him. Yep, you get paid in shekels or dirham. You only get 10. You only get 10 for beating Sonny Edwards. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest though. Beating Sonny Edwards is like stepping on a worm, man. I mean, it's nothing to brag about, is it? Like you say yourself, the guy's 5'3" and 8 stone. I might be out of shape. I might not be a boxer, but I tell you right now, no man born from his mother who is 5'8" and 8 stone is going to kick my ass. You know, if I got in the ring with Sonny Edwards, I'd be like, oh, look at little Sonny Edwards, he's so cute. That's what I'd probably be like. I wouldn't even have the heart to lay hands on him, if I'm being honest. That would be too sad. It just wouldn't feel right. Wouldn't seem like the right thing to do. It's animal abuse, innit? I'd feel bad about it afterwards. Which of the two was faster with hand speed or footwork, Vlad or AJ? In my opinion, Vlad at 23, 28 was blindingly fast. Well, Vlad at 41 had quicker feet than AJ. If you look at that fight, go and look at whose footwork was quicker, whose was faster. You'll see that Vlad's foot speed is a lot more impressive than AJ's. You know, he glides around the ring like a flipping gazelle compared to AJ, man. Where was I? Tommy Fury could do any preparations, though, to see if he was able to go in the US. There isn't a list you can look up. Oh, he couldn't do any. There isn't a list you could look up, and then you have to go, and if they deny you, then they deny you. Yeah, I guess he probably didn't know he was going to get denied. Yeah, that makes sense. Who do you think wins, Usyk or Fury? Gun to my head, I'd go with Fury because he'd be allowed to cheat and spoil his way to win. But I think in a fair fight with a fair referee and fair judges, I got Usyk on points. I think he outboxes him. Replicates what Steve Cunningham and Otto Wallin were able to do at times, but much better. A much higher level of skill. The documentary on Josh Taylor was interesting. The man has got borderline anger issues. I guess it's represented in his fighting style. Yeah, Josh Taylor really, really struggles to keep his cool, both in the ring and out the ring. He's a very, very agitated and angry individual, and I think a lot of it is brought on by the fact that he's starving. He just needs a cheeseburger, man. Like, Josh Taylor's just too big for 140. He's starving himself to make weight. I'll tell you one thing, if I was starving myself, I'd be pissed off too, man. Do you play GTA? I certainly do. In fact, I recently on my gaming channel, I reviewed Vice City. In fact, I'll post a link for you in the comment section. I'll post a link for my Vice City review, and you can check that out if you want to. I did a retro review on Vice City. 1 second. That should be it there. I hope that's the right link once again. Games are good for the brain as well. Watching TV, Netflix, terrible for the brain. Yeah, because games are... See, the difference there is games are intellectually stimulating. You can actually get a lot of things done, a lot of thinking done while playing a game. They're thought-provoking and you can figure out puzzles and stuff like that. But when watching a movie or a show, you're kind of in a sedentary state. You're just watching it and consuming it. With a game, you're actually enjoying it, taking part in it and experiencing it, Yeah, couldn't. Yeah, I get it, man. God bless. What do you think the best lightsaber fight in Star Wars films is? And will you do a Star Wars film review series? My favourite lightsaber fight, personally, is the Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn versus Darth Maul. The Duel of the Fates. Da, 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 da. When the door opens and Darth Maul pulls out his double-bladed lightsaber. I'll never forget seeing that for the first time in my in my cinema. Like when I went to see that at the cinema, I'll never forget that. That was badass. A close second has to be the one from Revenge of the Sith, Anakin versus Obi-Wan. That's a badass fight. That's a great fight scene too. But my favorite is the Darth Maul versus Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi. That was a badass lightsaber fight, man. Triple B. Do you need to be on a certain diet to jump? Oh, yeah, I remember that, man. Oh, man. Based 7 foot, 300 pounds, Nordic warrior. Yeah. Sonny Edwards looks autistic. He looks more than autistic, I'd say. He looks very dodgy. Same question for Rocky as well. Favorite fight, and would you do a review series? I'll consider it. My favorite Rocky fight, probably the Drago fight, but only the Russian bootleg version, where Drago wins by first round knockout. That's my favorite fight. Why do people hate Sonny Edwards? All I know about him is he looks like a squirrel and likes fat black women. Is there anything else I should know? Isn't that enough? Aren't those things enough for you to dislike him? AJ doesn't have footwork for it to be fast. Yeah, he doesn't. Vlad was gliding around that ring quite well for a 41-year-old. People who trained both said Vlad had faster single shots than Tyson and hit much harder too. I agree. Vlad was a much bigger puncher than Tyson and was much more skilled and had a lot more heart. I'm still gutted we never got Jarrell Big Baby Miller versus AJ. Miller was in AJ's head. That would have been a good fight in retrospect. At the time, I thought that AJ was going to knock him out, but I'm not so sure now, I'm not so sure. Who wins, Crawford Spence? For the longest time, I thought that Crawford would win on points, but as close as that fight has potentially gotten, I've actually started to favour for Spence to win that fight on points, man. I think Spence might win it. Anyway, I'm head out. Yeah, good to see you here, man. God bless. Have a good one. I'll try to link you some good Christian documentaries from Steven Anderson and Paul Wittenberger if I can find them. Take care and God bless. Yeah, you too, man. God bless. Have a good day, man.
When do you think the legendary GTA 6 will come out? It seems as if they're just going to keep releasing GTA 5 because, they still make money off it. It's kind of like what Elder Scrolls are doing. They don't want to release Elder Scrolls 6. So Bethesda are just going to keep releasing Skyrim and milking the absolute crap out of it. Like, they've milked it for all it's worth. And they're still milking it. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, man. Well, could AJ Miller... Could get AJ Miller next. Could get that fight if AJ beats Usyk. All Joshua needs to do is the same thing he did against Ruiz. Yeah, just jab and run, and he might get a gift decision. You never know, man. You'll need to apply for a ESTA in advance, and you get a reply if you get a permit to enter the US or not. I see. Is that how it works? My favourite was Obi-Wan versus Anakin. Yeah, that's my second favourite after Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn. Has tried to spread that Kinahan is a good man, fakes a roadman accent because he hangs around with the mandem, looks inbred, and he's funny sometimes. Wish we got more of Qui-Gon. Yeah, Qui-Gon was a badass, but to be fair, I think it's good that he was only in one movie so he wasn't overused, It was quite memorable for what it was worth. I'm off, man. Have a good one. Yeah, good to see you here, man, Valley. I'm glad you could stop by. God bless you. Which GTA game is the best for you then? 4 for me personally. My personal favourite is San Andreas. A close second is Vice City, but I think San Andreas, in my personal opinion, is where the series peaked. I love that game, man. It's awesome. Proper timeless classic. That's cool, but I think the prequels fight kept getting more and more like dancing, not a good thing. I can see what you're saying, but again, the characters are supposed to be like super skilled, aren't they? Do you remember Fury had a video where he was calling that Pakistani guy? Yeah, I remember that video. He was holding him against the wall and he said, "This is what happens to my haters." I know what you're on about, Lee. I saw that video. And he said, you'll get like choked out like this guy or something. Because the guy was saying, it was obviously a fake video stage, but the guy was like, David Haye knock him out, I'd knock him out. And then Fury went and choked him. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that video. Where do you draw the line with race mixing? Look, I don't have a strong opinion on it. There's really nothing I can do about it as the... Which Tyson are we talking about? Fury. Yeah, Fury. Fury had the guy by the throat against the wall. Josh Taylor versus Crawford. I think Taylor's the better fighter, but I'd need to see him in his next fight before I know. I've got a feeling he might be 1 foot out the door, but prime Josh Taylor versus prime Terence Crawford, I think a prime Josh Taylor wins it, probably on points, man. I think he can win it. What are your favourite book breakings? Me, it's Ingmar Johansson, Eddie mentioned Watch It, Jerry Cooney, Ken Norton, and Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder 3. Probably Fury Wilder 3. That was a fun one to watch, man. That was a fun fight, to be fair. I'm surprised GTA 6 didn't come out when the PS5 was released. Yeah, it's because, like I said, they kept releasing GTA 5 just to keep making money off it. They keep milking it. Same thing Bethesda. Same thing Bethesda's been doing ever since Skyrim, They've been re-releasing Skyrim and just milking it. I heard GTA 6 is going to be enormous. That might be the reason. At least they've officially announced it. To be honest, it'll probably be woke too. That's the sad thing about it. I almost wish we got Darth Maul throughout the whole trilogy. I disagree. I don't think they should have had him throughout the whole trilogy because, again, I think he served his purpose in that one movie, and he was a very mysterious, silent villain for a lot of it. And I don't think that he should have been overused. So I'm glad that he was only in one movie, same as Qui-Gon Jinn. I think too much of a good thing can be a problem, Interestingly, the actor who played Darth Maul, not the guy who did the voice, the actor who played him physically was from my home city. There's a guy called Ray Park. He's a martial artist from Glasgow. He played Darth Maul. He also played Toad in the X-Men movie. He did a good job. He was a good martial artist. Yeah, Fury Wilder 2 was more one-sided. The third one was a more entertaining fight, though, I think. That's how I saw it. I was referring to Vlad's speed over Tyson. All right, I see. I think Mike Tyson might have been a bit quicker than Vlad, but Vlad was definitely the bigger puncher of the two. He was definitely the better fighter with more heart too. Take it you aren't much of a Fury fan. No, I'm not much of a Fury fan, to be honest. Yeah, Wilder got brutally knocked out rather than saved by the referee. Who voiced Darth Maul? I'll tell you who it was. The actor who voiced him, I forget his name, but you guys might know him. He was the guy who played Pete in that movie Shaun of the Dead. You ever seen the movie Shaun of the Dead? The guy who played Pete, he was the guy who voiced Darth Maul, I'm sure. He was also in he was also in that movie Rush Hour 3. He was the cabbie in that. Like, he's been in a lot of these like random movies. He was the guy who voiced Darth Maul. I think it was him anyway. I'm pretty sure. If I've gotten that wrong, I'm sorry, but I think he was the guy who. Let me Google it actually. What's that actor's name? 1 second. I'll find out the actor's name and then I'll see. 1 second. Bloody Google. That's gonna get stuck in my head now. What was that actor's name? Let me just Google it. Like, I'll find out. 1 second. It's annoying me now. I'm pretty sure it was that guy. It was the guy who played Pete from Shaun of the Dead. I'm sure he was the guy who voiced Darth Maul. Let me double check. And he was in that movie. He was also in John Wick 2. He was like the gun salesman guy. Peter, it's a hard name to pronounce. His name's like Peter Serafinowicz. I'm assuming he's like Polish or something. That guy. But yeah, I'm sure he's the guy who voiced Darth Maul, not the guy who played him. I'm sure he's the guy who voiced him. Let me double check that. Yeah, he did the voice for Darth Maul. I think he also voiced some of the battle droids and stuff. So quite a good voice actor, that guy. But the guy who actually physically played Darth Maul was Ray Park, the martial artist from Glasgow. Okay, really a game question. Who wins? Hebrew Warrior Paul, KO Tommy Fury. Yeah, Jake probably knocks him out, I think. In probably a fixed fight, actually. I liked San Andreas, but it was defo responsible for increase on black on white violence, especially among youths and school kids. Well, at the end of the day, it's an 18 rated game, so why are kids playing it, you know? I'm one to talk, I played it as a kid, but legally, you know, kids shouldn't be playing it. It's rated 18. Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Valhalla are the most bloated games I've played. I've never played either of those. I've only played like the early Assassin's Creeds, like the first one. Vlad had faster, straighter shots. Tyson better combat. Yeah, I agree with that. Like that's more to do with body mechanics. You know, Tyson could throw hooks and uppercuts and bend at the waist easier, but Vlad had the harder, more slender physique with the harder, straighter shots. That makes sense. Glenn McCrory, Paul Smith versus Deontology Wild. Yeah, man. Sonny's childhood was crazy. Escaped the cotton farms without a penny in his pocket. Went to prison and started his amateur career at 30. Could have been the greatest all time with proper training, in my opinion. Yeah, he definitely could have. He definitely had the talent, man. Just didn't have the guidance or the easy start in life, you know. Okolu versus Bradis. In a real fight, in a fair fight, with a fair referee and fair judges, I go with Bradis, either by a late knockout or a wide decision. I think he's a better fighter, man. I really do. But that's just how I see it. Wilder won one round in the third fight. Besides that, Fury dominated the entire time. I agree, he did dominate. That's how I saw it. Have you seen the What Is a Woman documentary? You mean the Matt Walsh documentary? I've not seen it, but I've heard a lot about it. Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. It's nothing I need to know. I don't think I'll even bother watching. I know what all that stuff's about, but yeah, hopefully more people see it because it definitely exposes the truth about what academia is doing to kids, you know. The Obi-Wan series is shite. I actually watched most of it. I have no interest in watching it, to be honest, man. GTA 1's still my favourite, but overall I'd say GTA 4 with expansions was the best. Yeah, personally for me, I preferred San Andreas, with Vice City, like I said, being a close second. But anyway, guys, I'm getting really tired, so I'm going to wrap this one up. We've been going for nearly 3 hours. Thank you to everybody who stopped by, and God bless each and every one of you, and stay vigilant.